Hello, 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 hello. Hold on, guys. Let me get all set up. Oh god. Oh god. Discord crashed. Oh god. No. This makes everything harder. Hold on. Yippee! Whoopoo! Wow! How loud is that? Is that like... That's not that loud. Okay. I have to watch it. I is excited. Hold on. Hold on. We're gonna see if really cool things are happening. Really cool things are happening. Really cool things are happening. Blah 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 blah. I'm also really tired. Bro, these allergies are kicking my ass. Kicking my ass. Yeah, okay, we're good. Hi. Now that everything's set up, I can just chill. Oh my god. God. My lungs hurt. I think I'm gonna get sick. I don't think my allergy meds are strong enough to stop me from getting sick. I feel it coming on. I think you're already sick. Sick, infected with... Yeah, probably. Have a good day at work. Oh god, the lungs. Yeah, so I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed today because people have just been waiting for stuff for so long for PoE 2 that like the list is a freaking mile long about what people want from this. It's crazy. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier every time because people are getting, I think, impatient probably. So yeah, people just want more and more things. It's kind of a good thing, I guess. From a like, people are excited. That's why they have so many different things they want. But I hope GG just like blows everyone away with this. And everybody's like freaking excited, including me. I want to be excited. But personally, I think they've probably made some big changes to endgame. I do actually think they're going to do that this time. And I think we're getting Templar. And I'm sure there's a plenty of other stuff they're going to do too, but those two things I feel pretty confident about. I would be really confused if we're not getting Templar because they did so much stuff for PoE 1 that definitely crosses over into PoE 2 in regards to Templar. Actually, I really like what they did in PoE 1 with Templar because they added a lot of more like paladin type stuff. And yeah, I like the vibe. I liked all the like new holy skills that they added. So, oh, one of my lungs in particular is rebelling. It quit. It didn't come to work today. Man, I was really hoping to get that field done and farming sim. Maybe I'll get like a second wind and we can do it after this event. I want to do some farming sim. Some farming sim. But I also don't want to push myself if I feel like poop poo. Then I'll just get sicker. So we'll see. I wish I had made coffee, but now I don't. I'm like worried if I leave now that I'll like come back. I won't come back quite quick enough. But I wish I made coffee. As far as what I feel like will make me have a like serious dive back into PoE, I don't really know, because PoE 1, the league that just happened, looked incredible. Like, it looked great. I think honestly there was nothing they could have done to bring me back, because I was just not really in the mood. If I had even been in the mood even slightly, I would have played the current PoE 1 league because it looked great. But yeah. I do feel like with PoE 2, the way it currently is, I'm not super excited about playing any of the builds. So I guess if they give me that in this, if I'm just like, man, I want to play that, like that build that they're showing me right now, then that'll be pretty big for me. But also, seeing a combination of that and an end game that actually looks fun and looks like more like choose your own end game, like the thing that made me fall in love with PoE 1 in the first place, I'll be super pumped about. But honestly, I haven't even played the new, like, was it Act? I haven't played all the story that we've had for a while now. So it's kind of silly for me to worry about what like is in the end game, but it is a little bit of a motivator for like actually investing time into a league. Because I'm like, oh well, it's worth it because I'll work on this character and then I'll get to end game and I'll have tons of stuff to do that I want to go do. Oh my god, someone's here. Someone's here. I don't have one or something.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile
Hi.
2, and welcome to GGG Live. We have a huge amount of stuff to share today, so it's going to be a good one. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim the Red Queen's font hideout decoration by following the instructions below. Okay, So with that out of the way, time to roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Return of the Ancients.
Those in darkness once lay dormant, now return. We who came before rise again. Behold, the first edict.
New endgame quest. Okay. Interesting. Ooh. Ooh. Wait, Shadow? Okay. Whoa. The bosses look so good in Beauty too. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Wait. Slow down, GG. Aaron the Raven. Delirium rework. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, that's interesting. What's this? Expedition stuff? Rev. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, 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 Kalgura skills.
I remain loyal to the king.
Expedition reworked. Did they just like touch everything? Explore the ocean? Masters of the...
Continue the search.
Wait, what?
See
What?
you
What?
can find.
What? Wait, what? 15 new bosses? What? Hey, tree. Oh, I hope it's so much better. Ooh. Oh. Okay. That looks disgusting. Okay. Unique, sure. I didn't see like a new class. They just mentioned new ascendancies, but maybe no Templar. That's crazy, man. I did not see a sign of Templar in there. I'm actually really surprised with it.
So
That's
as you can
so
see,
much in-game
there's
stuff,
just so
though.
much going on in Return of the Ancients, it's hard for even us to keep track of it all. Now, we promised that this one was going to revamp the in-game, and I'm very excited to talk about it.
Oh,
But
Runes of
first, we've got to
Aldur
talk
is the
about the
league.
So to do that, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Now, for those of you who are new to Path of Exile, each time we release an update, we also release a new league. Not only do we have a new economy, but we also introduce new content through the campaign, which gives you a fresh play experience right from the start of the game, as well as new mechanics, storylines, and in-game bosses. In the Runes of Aldur League, you will encounter a man being attacked by the undead in Clearfell. After saving him, he introduces himself as Pharaoh, a young blacksmith trying to bring back the ancient art of Ezomite runesmithing. He has been collating his discoveries in a tome and is keen to show you how runesmithing works. By inscribing symbols on these ancient Ezomite remnants, you can create all manner of old magics. Unfortunately, on doing so, the corpses of the nearby undead are revived and infused with some of the latent power, making for a difficult fight. After defeating these monsters, Pharaoh realizes that runesmithing is a dangerous business, and he is going to need the help of someone a little more martially inclined to discover these secrets. He lends you his tome and asks that you note down anything you discover when you return to him. In each area in the Runes of Aldur League, you will find a remnant, and as you approach it, you will notice that some symbols are already present, and some are waiting for you to fill them in. Depending on which symbols are already present, you will have different options for which items you can create using this magic. For example, if you combine Tempest and Lightning, you can create an Orb of Augmentation.
Okay. It's alchemy.
But be careful. The symbols used to craft the items also empower the monsters around the remnant, who will be revived as undead to fight again with different properties depending on what runes you used. So, if you use a fire rune in your recipe, the monsters will be empowered with fire. Or if you use a moon rune, lunar beams will rain down as you fight the monsters.
A really big looking imp.
After the fight, break the remnant to receive the item you crafted. As you get higher level, you will start to find remnants with more slots for more runes, allowing you to craft rarer items. As the number of slots increases though, more waves of monsters will be added, with each wave being empowered by more and more of the runes.
I do like this mechanic because it just seems like a good,
And this
straightforward
can get
one.
pretty dicey, because
that
some
can
of the
be in
runes can have
maps.
powerful effects. Like the Oath rune, which will cause one monster to be nominated as a leader, spawning waves of minions. The leader itself will be invincible, but killing its minions will deal damage to it.
Also, it's not a timed mechanic. Freaking finally.
Some recipes can get pretty large, requiring 6, 7, or even 8 runes.
Why?
But don't worry, you won't have to remember them. Pharaoh's runecrafting book will record all the options, allowing you to simply pick which one you want to craft, given the existing runes that are already on the remnant. To expand your knowledge and to allow you to craft more items, Pharaoh has asked that you keep an eye out for signs of runic magic around Rayclast.
This easily
He
seems
wants
like
to
it could
document
be my
anything
favorite
you find
mechanic
in order to rediscover the secrets of Ezomite runesmiths of old.
It's just the kind
The first of
league
these can be
mechanic
found in Ogham,
I would like.
and reveals to you an ancient secret, buried deep underground. The runic magic which the Ezomites believe to be their own is actually of Kalguran origin. Thousands of years ago, the Kalgurans came to Rayclast to find sources of Verisium, a metal on which engraved runes allow control over reality. Pharaoh is determined to learn these ancient ways and gain mastery over them. If you can bring him more Verisium, he will be able to use it to smith power into any armor, granting you runic ward. the power harnessed by the Kalgurans since ancient times. Runic Ward is a new resource that protects you from death.
Oh.
Should you run out of life, your Runic Ward will kick in, sustaining your body until your life can return. It effectively acts as an extra life pool.
Oh.
Of course, should you take enough damage to run out of that, you will still die. Every single piece of armor in the game can be upgraded this way. Even uniques. Some are just a strict upgrade, giving Runic Ward with no downside. Others are more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get a much larger amount of Runic Ward. There are even some that add new modifiers to uniques entirely, making them much more viable for higher level play. But the Kalgurans use Runic Ward for more than just a defense. It can also be used to power many other magics.
Okay.
Instead of using gems created from corruption, the Kalgurans used runes of power and fueled them with Runic Ward. Many of the options available from Remnant crafting are new types of Kalguran skills that exclusively spend Runic Ward to wreak havoc. An example is Triskelion Cascade. Using it will cause your next spell to be triggered multiple times in a Triskelion pattern. You can use it with skills like Ice Nova that you cast from yourself,
Oh, okay.
or with something you target at a distance, like Comet. There are also skills to modify existing effects using runic magic, like Frost Flame Nova. Using this skill on a pack of burning enemies will transform the Ignite into Frostfire, both burning them and building up freeze at the same time. You have basic buffs like Hollow Shell that guards all nearby allies, to more complicated mechanics like the Mark of Repulsion that creates a mark capable of pushing away all nearby enemies. Instead of spending mana, like skill gems do, all these skills cost Runic Ward, and unlike gems, they don't have a color. This means that they don't care about attribute requirements, or what kind of weapon you use. These skills are designed to be used on any class, and so often interact with mechanics that apply across many characters. By combining different runes together, the Kalgurans were able to support their runic abilities, and you can as well. There is also a set of runic supports that can be combined with regular skill gems in interesting ways. Concussive Runes allows you to add these concussive shockwaves to any skill that stuns, while Runic Infusion lets you spend ward to directly empower the damage on any skill. Now, there are other quests during the campaign too that unlock even more interesting crafting methods. Buried deep in the jungle in Act 3, you can find the Mystic Refuge, containing even more secrets for Pharaoh to learn from. Using this knowledge, he gains the ability to reforge unique weapons. With this technique, many low-level unique weapons can be upgraded to do significantly more damage.
Okay.
Now, we've been able to take a bunch of uniques that had interesting modifiers, but were not in-game viable, and give them a bit of a boost to get there. And it's not just low-level uniques. All Kalguran uniques are able to be runeforged this way too, and they can do some pretty interesting things. Like Searle's Grit, a new unique, which when runeforged can get one of several different outcomes. Now, there is still so much more that you can craft with remnants. There are also 100 new runes, as well as many other new crafting currencies. This is the Runes of Eldur after all, and some of these runes have quite powerful effects. For example, this Elemental Conversion rune will convert all the existing mods on a non-unique weapon from one element to another. Using it, you could combine a weapon with all 3 elemental damage mods into a single element, making a weapon with massive amounts of cold damage. There is also a rune that lets you destroy your rune sockets to turn them into a dual socket on your item. And there are even crafting meta runes that can unlock new types of mods when used with regular crafting. For example, This Rune of Chronomancy will unlock a set of time-related mods to be crafted on your boots. Once placed inside, use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effectuation. You can also create a new type of currency called alloys. Using regular metals alloyed with verisium, new modifiers not normally available can be directly crafted onto your items. Using imbued alloy could improve your ailment damage, for example. There are honestly so many options here that unlock all sorts of crazy crafting projects. So I think people will be experimenting with these for a long time. Once you get to King's March in Act 4, Pharaoh finally meets Danig, a real Kalguran runesmith. And riddled with excitement, he wants to learn how to merge modern Kalguran techniques with the ancient knowledge that he has found. From here on, Pharaoh joins in the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been leading. With the ancient knowledge that Pharaoh brings to the table, the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been going on will change significantly. For those of you who haven't played it, the Expedition League mechanic involves carefully placing explosives, uncovering the buried dead, and recovering verisium from them. By choosing where to place the explosives, you can choose which kind of challenges you would like to face, or rewards you would like to claim. But unlike before, expeditions now contain the remnants from Runes of Eldur, allowing you to do some specific crafts along the way using the new League crafting mechanic.
Wait, that's how it
One very
exists in
important
the end
difference from
game?
the simple remnant encounters, though, is that the empowerments that the remnants grant apply to every monster down the explosive line for the rest
Never
of the
mind.
encounter, stacking together. This can lead to some pretty extreme situations. If you stack too many remnants, you might be in for a fight beyond your abilities, but the rewards can be very worth it. Each mod on the monster is improving the items that they can drop. Once you get to the endgame, you will find that the Atlas has changed substantially.
Okay.
To the south, you will now find the coastline of Rayclast, with the ocean beyond. King's March has not fared well after the Cataclysm, and lays in ruins. Rog's shop has been destroyed, but he is much more concerned about his wife, Gwennen. He would like to launch an expedition deep into the ocean to find her, and this begins a new major mechanic for Expedition, exploring the ocean. Previously, a logbook was a single encounter. Now, using a logbook, you can send ships to explore an area of the ocean to the southeast, uncovering a range of islands to begin your search for Gwennen. You can hop from island to island, doing many new encounters. There are islands with expeditions, grand expeditions, new bosses, and all sorts of other unique things to find. Eventually, you will find the island that Gwennen has been holed up on. It turns out that she has found the tomb of an ancient Kalguran, Medved. While she appreciates you coming to her rescue, she is still keen to blow open the doors of the vault and take whatever you can find inside. It's just a shame that Medved isn't as dead as you previously assumed.
Tuh.
Now, after you have defeated Medved, you will find another logbook. And this time you can use it to choose which direction you want to explore.
Interesting.
The
Okay.
ocean is vast and contains a huge number of new islands to find. With each logbook, you can explore one sector and you can go as deep as you like. There are all sorts of interesting
Uh-oh.
objects to uncover and dungeons to explore. Many of the islands have expeditions with totally new mechanics. So for example, here is a volcanic island with voltaxic sulfite. Blowing up the sulfite will unleash extra waves of enemies.
So,
But there is also this wall with a suspicious light coming from behind it.
alright.
On blowing it open, a giant ogre comes out, and he is determined to eat as much sulfite as possible. The more sulfite mounds that you have blown up, the more empowered and the more rewarding he will become. These islands contain all sorts of little secrets that you can find and blow up. Free trapped wisps, blow open root doors, even raise ancient precursor technology. And of course, more bosses. There are more and further vaults to blow up, and one of them in particular is pretty important. The Tomb of Uhtred, the Star Drinker. Uhtred was responsible for calling down the meteors of Verisium, which the Kalgurans used to power their ancient magic. And upon defeating him, he calls down a truly gigantic one into the ocean nearby. On visiting it, you find that it is shrouded by a strange energy emanating from the Verisium core of the meteor within. There is something growing in there, and it can't be anything good. In order to gain entry, Danik suggests that the Triskelion Flame, an ancient Kalguran artifact that can absorb and cancel the effects of Verisium magic, could be used to enter. But to find it, you will need to locate the Tomb of Olroth, leader of the Knights of the Sun. Defeat him and gain access to whatever eldritch nightmare is growing inside. Now, we're not going to spoil the boss, but one thing you should know is that the Verisium that makes up the core of the meteor is of a quality that has not been available for millennia. Bringing this to Pharaoh and Danik should allow them to forge some objects of power, the creation of which has been lost to time. So that's the League, and there is a lot going on. To sum all that up, there is a new encounter with over 30 new monster types and over 30 new rune modifiers to enhance them.
Okay.
You can create more than 100 new runes to craft your gear, as well as dozens of other new currency items. And there are new quests added to the campaign to unlock even more new crafting options. Rune forging armors, upgrading uniques, dozens of new Kalguran skills and supports, tons of new islands to discover by exploring the ocean, 5 new bosses, including a new pinnacle boss, and a bunch of new uniques to top it off. But there is still a ton more to come. It's time to talk about the massive changes to the endgame. But for
Let's
that,
talk
I'll
about
hand it back to Jonathan.
Now, as Mark hinted at before, the endgame atlas is very different now, and the ocean to the south is the least of the changes. The entire area around your starting location is now teeming with new quest lines and things to discover.
Okay.
Will you investigate the strange forest to the west, the cracks in the earth to the east, or perhaps visit the ruins of a Val city in the north? The atlas now has fixed points of interest at specific locations, giving you specific objectives that are easy to find.
Okay.
Like before though, no matter which objective you choose, going to towers to see what's out there is always a good idea. The first time you do that though, something new happens. The earth shakes, and a gigantic fortress rises from the earth. A remnant of the ancient precursor civilization.
Okay.
The cataclysm of the beast has caused an ancient protocol to be invoked. Should corruption ever take hold to this degree, the world must be scoured and purged of corruption. You will need to make your way into the fortress and activate the gates. Gain the keys to reach these ancient precursor weapons, and disarm them. But this will be no easy task. The fortress has many areas to explore and many new things to find. You will power up ancient machines, fight new and deadly foes, discover many new areas, and uncover some dark secrets. Now, the fortress
Interesting.
is the first of the new full endgame storylines that we're adding in 050, and there's a lot going on with it. But not only that, it has some pretty cool new mechanics as well. The areas inside the fortress are special. Many of them have new mechanics or rewards that they grant. Like this map, where all the rares are contained in essence crystals. Or this one, which replaces all monster packs in the area with strongboxes.
Huh.
Or this one, which spawns an Ismeri spirit that always moves on from a rare after you kill it, allowing you to chase it through the entire map.
Fun. Okay.
Now, just like the normal areas of the Atlas, you'll need to fight the map boss of each area to complete the map. But unlike a normal map, the ones in the fortress each contain precursor nodes after the boss, and activating these nodes will give you points for the new and improved Atlas passive tree. Now, we had an Atlas passive tree before, but it was one of the areas of the endgame that just wasn't up to scratch. The Atlas tree now works quite a lot differently. We have significantly upgraded the kind of mechanics that you can find on the Atlas tree.
Okay.
Like this one, that gives a chance to make rogue exiles you fight retreat from combat and move to an adjacent map. Before you fight them again, they'll upgrade their gear and come back with a grudge this time.
Interesting.
There are also a lot of nodes that combine mechanics together in new ways, like this one, which lets Ismeri spirits possess strongboxes. All the regular monsters that come out of them are touched by the spirit, and the rares are all possessed, giving you some incredible loot potential.
Okay, but like, I have so many follow-up questions.
You get points from every single area you complete in the fortress, and unlike before, that means you can allocate the entire Atlas tree. Yes, this whole tree can be yours. This change is pretty important, since it allows us to be able to create
Weird.
many types of bonuses that we wouldn't have been able to create before. Like this one, which gives a chance for
No.
cities to be invaded by another faction, and can even allow it to
They're-
contain 2 faction leaders, allowing you to get 2 crisis fragments. If we'd done this kind of
That
thing in the
means they're
old
going
tree,
full
we'd have wanted to spec
randomness.
into it before running a city
God
map,
damn it.
then unspec out of it before running anything else. With full
Like,
allocation,
all this stuff looks
we can
so
have cool
cool,
bonuses
but,
like
like,
these. Now, obviously, we still
why
want to make
can't
sure
I
that you
choose
have
my
choices that define
in-game?
your in-game Atlas build. So many nodes in the Atlas tree are now multi-choice. Everyone will get the node, but which bonus you choose to use is up to you. Do you want your powerful boss maps to contain more essences,
okay.
summoning circles, or rogue exiles?
Okay,
But
choices.
there's also nodes that contain more unusual things.
choices.
So for example, on this node you can choose. Do you want to give a chance for shrines to instead be given to the map boss in the area, making them more challenging but dropping special loot?
Not exactly.
Or would you rather give a chance to be given a shrine buff before entering boss arenas, making for an easier fight?
They've added so much stuff, Zan,
Now,
by
I
the
could
way.
probably nerd out about cool stuff in the tree all day, but we should probably get back to
It's
the
great.
fortress.
For the in-game stuff,
Now,
it's crazy.
One of the really important things we wanted to do was make it so that all the boss fights in the
It sounds
in-game
like
are now
there's
accessible with a quest line.
Basically, a
That
campaign
means that
in
to
the
fight
in-game
Arbiter
now.
of Ash for the first time, you don't need to get lucky by finding keys. They will be in fixed locations, and there's a quest
So they
to get
brought
them.
their strongest
But the
strength in
Arbiter of Ash is no
PV2
longer
to the
pinnacle of
in-game.
Path of Exile 2. For that, you'll need to travel into the very center of the fortress. An incredible challenge awaits you should you choose to go there. After the storyline, you still unlock keys for pinnacle bosses in the usual way, exploring the world and finding the keys required to get to them. But we have added a lot more interesting things to find out there as well. There are now all sorts of mechanics that can spawn on maps in the wilderness. For example, some maps might spawn as a rogue exile hunting ground, containing multiple rogue exiles who are there to hunt rare beasts. You might come upon them in the middle of a fight and be able to take out both of them. Or a map of champions that makes all the natural inhabitants of the area into magic monsters. Or this one that causes all shrines in the area to release Ismeri spirits when used. Once you have explored and found your keys, you can return to fight the Pinnacle in the fortress again. But this version of him will be harder, and not only that, he will have new unique rewards as well. Each time you fight him, you get the ability to activate one section of the fortress, and any maps that you didn't finish there will be automatically completed, giving you all the Atlas points. So if you're the type of player who doesn't want to explore the fortress, and instead just race out into the infinite Atlas, you still have a way to get all those points. So that's the Origins of Divinity storyline. It's a huge amount of new content with a ton of new areas, 5 new bosses, including a pinnacle, with a bunch of new unique items. But not only that, it also completely revamps the Atlas tree and includes a ton of new map mechanics that you can find both inside and outside the fortress.
Yeah.
But this is just one of the new storylines. So let's talk about the next one now, Masters of the Atlas. Now earlier we talked about how the multi-choice nodes in the tree allow you to still have an in-game Atlas build, but we didn't think that was quite enough. You have an Ascendancy class for your passive tree, why not an Ascendancy class for your Atlas tree? Well, that's where the Masters of the Atlas come in. Throughout Rayclast are many opportunities for those with the skills to find them. Atlas Masters are willing to train you in these skills if you're able to help them in return. One such master is Jado, a member of the Order of the Jinn, an organization that secures powerful artifacts to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Jado will send you on missions to investigate strange occurrences on the Atlas and recover the artifacts causing them. And for each one you recover, he will gain more trust in you and teach you more ways of the Order of the Jinn. At level 1, you could choose to massively increase the chance for rare and unique chests, or make it so that all map bosses drop an additional unique item. Or make corrupted waystones have an additional modifier, but at the cost of making them send you to a totally unknown location. Each mission you complete for Jado will unlock another row of abilities and give you another point to allocate, letting you choose how you want to specialize. But there are other masters too. For example, Hilda. Hilda is a member of a guild of monster hunters. She will send you on missions to assassinate specific deadly creatures around Rayclast and harvest their parts. In exchange, she will teach you her monster hunting skills, like this one, which adds a 25% chance to upgrade any map boss to a powerful version. Or this one, which makes his Marian spirits no longer possess rare monsters, making them go for the unique bosses in the area instead. You might notice that many of the effects on these are both upsides and downsides. So Hilda, for example, can make it so that you only get one attempt when fighting pinnacle bosses. But in exchange for that, they always drop 2 uniques. Because of that, we wanted it to be easy to swap between them depending on what you're doing. As you unlock each master, they will appear on the side of the screen. Simply click whichever one you want to use to run the map, and all the bonuses you have selected for that master will be activated.
Okay.
This allows you to have a few different strategies that you can quickly pick between, depending on what you're running at the moment. Now, one thing that's been pretty obvious is that the endgame leagues we created when launching Early Access in 010 were not really up to the standard of the leagues we did since then. Fate of the Vaal and Rise of the Abyssal just have a lot more going on than Delirium or Expedition, for example. We wanted to do a serious upgrade to all of these mechanics before we do our 1.0 release, and so that's what we've done. All 4 of the leagues we launched in Early Access have been upgraded with not only new quest lines, but new mechanics, new crafting systems, new uniques, and new pinnacle bosses. One of the really important changes we made to all the leagues is that you can now find them on the Atlas in specific locations, and each one has a quest line that will lead you there to being able to complete the league along with its Atlas tree and its pinnacle boss.
That's
this is
what I
true
want.
even for the leagues that we didn't do major redesigns to. So let's use Abyss as an example. When you first encounter one in the endgame, you'll get a quest that leads you to the east, where you will find these mega abyss cracks in the earth leading away from the Well of Souls.
So this is how you target what you want to do.
Will contain abysses with special properties, and mapping along these cracks will close the Atlas scale abysses, giving you points for the Abyss
That's
Atlas
cool
tree.
looking.
At the end of each Atlas Abyss, you'll find an Abyssal Depths with the boss fight for one of the Abyssal factions, giving you a guaranteed way to fight them. And after completing all 3, you'll get a key for the Well of Souls.
Okay, this is selling me on it because that's fucking
this
sick.
kind of thing makes an
You're
in-game league so much more friendly for new players.
Yeah, I
want
to go do this.
And a guided experience to complete.
And you can see it in the overworld. That's so sick. And you get to choose your own
and its new storyline, the Hare and the Raven. As you may remember, during Act 4, you were tricked into releasing an ancient entity from a Karui prison known as Tangmazu, the Raven Trickster. Tangmazu delights in breaking the minds of those who step through his mirrors, and when touching one, he will attempt to destroy your mind with twisted abominations generated from your worst fears. In Return of the Ancients, the first time you approach one of his Delirium encounters in the endgame, you will find Elder Maddox.
This is so much stuff. I don't think we're getting a new class. They would have mentioned it by now.
You will need to free him.
And this is so much stuff.
Once free,
Like,
Elder
this is
Maddox
crazy.
demands that as you caused this problem, you should put it right. He asks you to travel west to the Withered Willow, the location he believes that Tangmazu first gained his powers. But be careful. As you travel there, the Raven Trickster will attempt to break your mind. Each map around the Withered Willow features Delirium encounters. Now this is more than a simple quest upgrade. The mechanic of Delirium has been overhauled and expanded. At the bottom of the screen, there is now a bar that indicates how deep into Delirium you are. You can see which direction leads deeper by looking at the fog, and the deeper you go, the more challenges you will face. By looking at the bar, you can see how long you have until the Delirium ends. And you can also see special encounters that you will face if you're able to go deep enough into the fog. At the end of the bar is always the boss of the map, but we now have a variety of other encounters that you might find as you explore the horrors of your own mind. For example, you might encounter a purple mirror shard that when shattered will cause all the enemies to become more nightmarish. After hitting this, you'll notice the Delirium demons are enhanced, significantly more powerful, larger, and scarier in general, along with more rewards. Or should you encounter a red mirror shard, you'll be sent into the depths of your mind. And must escape it while fighting off hordes of your worst fears. If you are able to do so, you will gain a powerful amulet with 2 instilled notables on it. Once you reach the Withered Willow, Elder Maddox discovers that a shard of the mirror is missing. You will need to track down Tangmazu and restore it if you have a hope of discovering how to defeat him, and that means entering the Raven Trickster's mirrors in an attempt to locate him. Each area around the Withered Willow contains Delirium encounters, so that's a good place to start.
I might be
As you do
misunderstanding.
Deliriums, some of the special encounters will drop liquid emotions. Normally these emotions
Feels
can be
totally
used to install
different.
amulets to add notable passive buffs to them. But in Return of the Ancients, emotions have a new function as well.
Also, is it not
Each one
timed
now
anymore?
has the ability to add crafted mods to jewels, allowing you to add specific mods to an item slot that can be quite difficult to roll. For example, Liquid Despair will allow you to add critical hit chance, while Liquid Suffering will allow you to add movement speed or area of effect to
I'm
your
really
jewels.
not sure
But there
I
are many
understand the bar at the bottom of the screen. That
Once you've
when
done
he
enough
was doing
Delirium
it.
encounters, the location of a Grand Mirror, an entrance into Tangmazu's realm, is revealed. But it won't be that simple to enter. Using his powers, he reflects the map boss for a ridiculous and powered fight, then destroys the entrance into his realm of madness. In order to find him now, you'll need to let the insanity fully into your mind. A strange fruit is left behind which you can consume
I wish
to fully
Monk
embrace
didn't
the
feel like
madness in an attempt to
frickin'
reach the
doo-doo
Raven
to me.
Trickster's realm. Consuming the fruit will cover an entire area of the Atlas in fog, and every map you do in the fog will get progressively harder and harder as you explore the deeper reaches of your mind. At some point you enter a new layer. A simulacrum of your memories, twisted and perverted by the Raven Trickster. Should you be able to complete the simulacrum, Tangmazu will believe that you are worthy of a true challenge, and will let you take the remaining shard of his mirror, allowing you to enter his realm of madness back at the Withered Willow. If you dare to face him, it will be a fearsome challenge.
Cool.
So, that's the new storyline of Delirium. As you can see, it's not only a quest line, there are new mechanics, new crafting options, and new boss fights. But one question you might have is, what happens after? Well, once you've completed the story, Grand Mirrors will start appearing on the Atlas sometimes after completing Delirium encounters. After doing the Grand Mirror, you can select where on the Atlas you want to do your fruit-induced drug trip and get another key to fight Tangmazu.
Okay.
But this time, the fight will be quite a bit harder. And not only that, the fight will be able to drop a bunch of new uniques that were not available in the questline version. We'll show some of those later. After doing a Grand Mirror, the decision of where to spread the fog can be important, because there are some potent emotions that only come from certain map bosses affected by Delirium this way. Like all emotions, they can craft special mods onto jewels, but these potent emotions can create mods that you
I
can't
don't know
get
if I'm
any
just
other way.
like choosing
So,
to
for
see what I
example,
want to
potent
see
liquid
with
melancholy is an
Delirium, but it
emotion that can
looks
only
like
come from
the
human
way it
bosses, and allows you to add a
functions,
variety
even
of
on the
on-hood
most
effects.
basic level, is completely different.
Also, you might want to try instilling amulets with these emotions. They could have some interesting effects with some powerful notables that do not normally exist on the tree. Like Storm's Rebuke, which makes armor break boost your cold and lightning damage.
Yeah, this in-game
Also
stuff is
notables from
looking
a clearly deranged mind,
so
like Calm's Blessing. This
good.
skill allows you to ancestrally boost fire spells after using a Warcry. How about using an Ancestral Flame Blast? Now, just like before, you can also upgrade the League by getting points for a dedicated Delirium Atlas tree. But this now works in a much better way and has much cooler effects. The maps
Okay.
in the Delirium area of the Atlas give you Delirium passive points for completing them, so it's easy to see how to progress.
Nice.
Some nodes will add new types of mirror shard encounters to your Deliriums. Like this one, which will pause the Delirium for some amount of time, allowing you to more easily get to higher depths.
Okay, if you're pausing it,
Or
then it's
this
still
one,
time-based.
which adds extra
Womp
Delirium
womp.
modifiers to monsters when you pick it up. There are also nodes that can add new types of drops, like this one, which modifies Simulacrum encounters to add special liquid emotions, which can craft time-lost jewels. And nodes that apply to the Atlas mechanics of the League, like this one, which causes the Grand Mirror to spread Delirium fog over a larger area of the Atlas, potentially containing multiple simulacrums. Alright, so that's the changes to Delirium. The core mechanic now includes a bunch of new things to find, new monsters to kill, and has new mechanics on the Atlas. It also has new crafting system for jewels, and over 20 new unlockable notables for amulets. Not only that, but you have a new pinnacle boss with a bunch of new unique items,
You are
and a massively
liquid.
upgraded Atlas tree just for Delirium. But
I
there's
don't
still
know
a
what
lot
that
more to come,
means.
so let's talk about Breach next. When you first do a Breach in the endgame, you will find Aelith, one of the Keepers of the Flame, an ancient order of monks dedicated to preventing the Hiveborn from entering the world. As you seem to be a keen
Dude,
slayer
I just
of
keep
demons,
noticing
Aelith would like to
the
recruit you to the
character
order
getting
and
pushed
asks that you
around
travel
by
to
the
their monastery
mobs,
to the
and
south.
it's like triggering me.
On the way there, you'll start
in,
to
like, a
encounter
ton of
more
the
breaches, and will notice one of
clips.
the first changes to the breach mechanic. You still have to kill monsters
Look
as
what
fast as you can to
emotions
keep the
is.
breach
Oh,
open, but now you can visibly see how much time you have left to keep it open, and how each kill extends its duration. Once you've reached the monastery, you will learn more about the Keepers. In the 25 years since the events of Keepers of the Flame in Path of Exile 1, the war with the Hiveborn has not gone well, and they have managed to establish a foothold in the world nearby. A gigantic area has fallen to the Scourge, and the Keepers are unable to get inside. Inside the monastery is the Genesis Tree, a powerful asset to the war effort, stolen from the enemy and gifted to the Keepers by the Dreamer himself. Using the tree, Aelith could create a breach
honestly,
stone and penetrate the Hiveborn
I don't even
foothold.
need to know
But
more
without Hiveblood, the tree has
about
withered.
this in-game stuff.
To
Like,
get
they've sold
Hiveblood,
me.
you will need to take advantage of another new mechanic of breach.
This
If
looks
you can
so
keep
much
the
better
otherworldly
than what it
portal open for long
was.
enough, the breach will stabilize.
Before it was
and will
just
enter a
so
new
just
phase.
like fucking
The
random.
Hiveborn
It was
will send their
just
toughest miscreations to
someone
defeat you,
just
and the
vomited
breach will not close until you can annihilate
random
them,
shit.
dropping Hiveblood that you can use
This
to
is
restore
so
the
much more
Genesis tree.
purposeful. It looks so much more interesting. There's all this different progression you can go
In some
after.
cases,
It
you
looks
may
great.
even attract one of the deadliest foes the Hiveborn can offer, a Marshal of Zesht.
We've now got like quest
These
lines for
monsters
every
also drop
league
wound
mechanic.
gifts,
Like,
and if you take these to the Genesis
looks
tree,
great.
they can be used to craft items to help you in the war against the Hiveborn. Given that 25 years have passed since the beginning of the war, the tree has grown and withered many times, but with each cycle it learns and expands its abilities. When you first open the Genesis tree, you will notice these holes into which you can place your womb gifts. Each womb gift can be used to create a different type of jewelry and must be fertilized with Hiveblood. So for example, you can place this amulet womb gift into the tree and it will give birth to a random rare amulet. But the Genesis tree is capable of much more.
tree
As you
looks a
continue to
little
feed the
big,
tree,
no?
its branches will regenerate and allow you more and more control over what kind of items it will birth. So for example,
It's a
this
little
branch of the
bigger
tree
than
will
the
allow you to control which
PoE1
base types of
tree,
amulets
huh?
can be birthed.
What happened?
And as you go deeper, it will even allow you to create new base types that you can't get anywhere else. Like this one, which gives you an entire spirit skill for free.
Apparently, the one we used
Or
in
this one, which has a
PoE1
rune socket
was
in
a
it.
baby tree. This
To
is
the
a
left and right are branches that will let you
old
control which
tree.
mods the amulet can get, including making sure that they're higher level, or controlling which specific mods that they will always have. With 15 points to allocate, you will have to choose wisely how you want to specialize your crafts, but it's worth noting that this tree doesn't have any cost to respecking it. You can enable or disable the nodes at any time by clicking on them. On rings, we've also added some really interesting new crafting options as well. You have a bunch of new base
Anybody who
types like
doesn't know,
these,
this is basically just a
but you also have
crafting
entire
bench
new
in
classes and mods
disguise.
that can be added. The right-hand branch of the ring tree adds
You're
an
like
entire new set of
choosing all
caster
the
mods to rings.
options, and it's like in the format
basics
of a
like extra
tree, but
elemental
it's
damage
really
for
just
spells,
like, I want a chess piece. I want it to be
or
a
more
strength
niche
chess
options,
piece.
like this mod that increases the rate you gain seals for Unleash. And on the left-hand side, you can unlock an entire new set of mods for minion characters.
Damn.
This stuff is actually pretty important, because casters and minion builds didn't have as many slots with interesting item crafting compared to attack builds. The Genesis tree narrows that gap. There are also trees for belts and currency.
I don't
I won't
know
go over
why
them
you
too
would
much
like.
here, but there are all sorts of goodies in these too. Like being able to create new catalysts for jewels.
Why would
or
you
a belt
craft
that gives
any
lightning
other way
damage.
than this tree?
Once you've done enough breach encounters, you may finally get a womb gift capable of birthing a breach stone. And you can then use it on the Hiveborn incursion. Once used, the true extent of the Breach Demon's foothold becomes clear. They have not only transformed the land, but constructed huge sky hives as well. When you enter the outskirts of
That
their realm,
looks
you will discover breach
familiar.
hives. Using the power of the Keepers of the Flame, these otherworldly structures can be burned away when walking through them. But for each one destroyed, more of the Hiveborn will attack when you attempt to purge the hive.
I enjoyed Keepers League so much.
These encounters are particularly rewarding for womb gifts, so you'll want to do as many of these as you can. But your real goal are the sky hives deeper into the domain. These twisted creations are securing the demon's entry into our world.
It's crazy though
Inside the very
because
center are the Breach Lords Tool and Ash.
I wonder how the
and you'll
community
need
at
to
large
defeat
is going
them
to feel
if you
about
want to get
this
rid of the
because it's
foothold
very,
once and
very
for all.
clear
Now,
that we
once
were
you've
just
completed the
playing
questline
like
version, there is still more to do. You
the
will find
beta
other breach
slash,
domains on
you
the
know, the
Atlas randomly in your
test
travels.
of
For
what
each
they
one,
were
you
trying
will
to
need
put in
find a breach
PoE
stone,
2 for a PoE 1 league.
Destroy the
Like the
sky
PoE 1
hives.
league was just like literally
and
them
defeat the Breach Lords.
finding a way to be working on this without working on
And
this.
doing these encounters is what will give you access to fight Zesht, the existing Breach Pinnacle boss, which you can access by communing with the Dreamer himself inside the monastery. While completing the questline for Breach, you will also be gaining points for the Breach Atlas tree, and there are a lot of cool new options here. This node will cause Breach hives to spawn outside of the Hiveborn domains on the Atlas. And this one will give Aelith additional abilities that you can use while attacking a hive.
But
Like this one,
personally, I
which
loved
causes
Keepers
all
League, so
Hiveborn
it
of the
makes it
next
kind of
wave
hard
to
to
be magic,
complain that
drastically increasing their difficulty in exchange for way more items.
it was just a way
There are
for them
also
to
nodes
work
that allow
on
you to
this.
control your rewards, like this one, which adds a set of new lineage supports to the Marshal of Zesht. Or this one, which lets you control which womb gifts you will get. There's also some nodes that affect the Genesis tree, like this one, which will cause Zesht to drop his head, which when returned to the Genesis tree, will grow a grasswing orchid on the side of it. You'll have to experiment to find out what this thing is good for.
What the
Putting rings
hell?
on its fingers seems to make it happy.
Ew.
So that's a rundown of what you can
GGG
expect from the new Breach
gross.
questline. There's a new stabilization mechanic for breaches,
But neat.
hive encounters, and Hiveborn incursions on the Atlas. But you also have a huge new crafting system and new bosses as well.
Big fan.
Alright, so let's talk about the Rite of the Nameless storyline next. When you first complete a ritual in the endgame, Aoife, a lost spirit, will appear. She appears to need your help, but isn't able to communicate more than a few words, beckoning you to come to the Wildwood. Like the other leagues, Ritual now has a place on the Atlas to call home. The Wildwood could be found to the west. When you first arrive there, Aoife's spirit will guide you in, where you will discover that inside the Wildwood, spirits can take physical form. Aoife has been bound to this place by the King in the Mists, and requests that you free her. But in order to do so, you will need her body, currently in possession of the King. To reclaim it, you will need to gain an audience with him. Inside the Wildwood, there are many ritual encounters to complete. Like before, in each area, triggering rituals will resurrect the nearby bound monsters to attack you.
Are they
And
showing
killing the
us
monsters will
this
give you
a
tribute.
month before the league comes
In
out?
addition,
Because
each
it's going to
ritual you
take
do
them
in the
that
area
long to
will add the
explain all
monsters
the
from
things
previous
they added.
ritual, making the encounters much more challenging the more
This feels
rituals
like
you
the
complete.
longest reveal ever,
Once you've completed them,
which
spend
is
your
great.
tribute to
Yeah,
get items.
all the stuff is
Now,
good
an
so far.
important
Oh my
change to the
god,
rewards of ritual is that all the
It's
items in the
so
reward
long.
window are now uniques or omens,
there's so
making this
much.
league's rewards much more valuable
They just
than before.
literally did
In order to
everything.
gain an audience with the
in the
nameless
in-game.
king, you need to sacrifice tribute to him. Any remaining tribute you don't spend can be sacrificed this way to fill up this bar. Once you have enough tribute for an audience, return to the Wildwood to divine his location with the nameless shrine. His location will be revealed deeper in the Wildwood, and you will need to make your way to him, kill him, and get
Like,
Aoife's
this feels
body.
like we're getting like 8 leagues in one.
Using her body, you can attempt to release her spirit, but this is when you learn about the true threat of the League. The Wildwood is built on top of an ancient prison. The King in the Mists didn't gain his power out of nowhere. He was granted it by an ancient being of darkness known as the Bodark, and the Nameless King's use of this power has been causing the prison to weaken. In order to prevent the Bodark from entering the world, a champion will need to enter its prison and beat him back, but those with a name are unable to survive there. In order to do so, you will need to transfer your name to another with a new mechanic in the Ritual League, the Rite of the Nameless. The rite will begin in a nearby forest. At first, it appears to be a regular ritual encounter, but that will soon change. The final ritual of the area will include the map boss. And defeating
It's
him will give you
completely
a piece of the
unreasonable of
effigy
me,
onto
but I'm
which you will
still just
transfer
like
your name.
holding out hope that maybe they'll finish over the in-game
But
stuff
the
and they'll
ritual
just be
is
like,
still not complete.
and
Once the map boss is
surprise,
defeated, the Atlas
we
will
added a
open, and you will need to
class.
pick another adjacent map to continue the ritual. During the
I would be
rite,
happy
each
with
adjacent map will have different rewards to tempt you.
Shadow, Templar,
So for
Templar,
example,
or
if you go in this
Duelist.
direction, you gain significantly more tribute. But if you go in this direction, the uniques in the reward window will turn into currency instead. You can also sometimes get offered specific items that will be added as rewards. So in this case,
They
you'll have
are
to
my
choose if you want to get
most
5
played
Chaos Swords
classes
or a Mage
and
Blood.
PoE 1.
A difficult decision, I'm sure.
And all 3 of them are not in PoE
Now,
2.
as this is one continuous ritual, the encounters in the next map won't start from scratch. They contain all the monsters that were gathered from the rituals of the previous map as well, making them harder and harder. And that includes the map boss too. You will need to defeat both map bosses in the final encounter for your next effigy piece. And it still doesn't end there. Pick another map, another reward, and add another map boss to continue until the ritual of the Nameless is complete. It will take 5 maps in all, and will be an incredible challenge. But once complete, you can return to the Wildwood to perform the final rite. Transfer your name to the effigy.
Because if they don't give
adorn
me
the
another
crown of the
class,
Nameless
I'm
King,
leveling
and enter the
another
prison.
fucking warrior. And leveling warrior is really
Now, of course, once the
not
pinnacle boss is
fun.
complete, the league doesn't end
it's
there.
just not fun.
As you do rituals on the Atlas, you can continue to give tribute to
But
the
I
King
like
in the Mists for another
warrior
audience.
builds way more than everything else in the game right now.
Pick another forest to begin the Rite of the Nameless once more, and this time with a harder pinnacle boss and new unique items to find. Of course, we've also significantly upgraded the Ritual Atlas tree. Get points by completing maps in the Wildwood, and you'll be able to
Twee on
unlock some
twee on
pretty cool
twee on
nodes.
twee on twee.
Some of them affect the Rite of the Nameless, like this one, which extends its duration. You thought
I
fighting
think they
5
just
map
wanted
bosses
to
at once was
break their
hard?
own
How about
record for
6?
number of trees
Or
shown
this one, which makes maps
in
during
a-
the rite have more
in a
reward
live
modes, often
event.
having 2. You also have nodes that allow things to combine with other content, like this one, which gives a chance for rituals to be created inside summoning circles, adding a random boss to the ritual encounter. There is even a node which adds a new type of possible ritual, the Audience with the Queen, which causes the Bride of the King to sometimes appear.
Sure.
Okay, so that's ritual. But let's have a look at what
Okay.
this means for in-game content as a whole for Path of Exile 2. When you include the expedition changes made by the League, we have a total of 5 new in-game storylines, each of which has a hub, crafting
Crazy.
systems, areas to explore, NPCs, and a pinnacle boss as a capstone. Not to mention the Masters of the Atlas storyline as well. But more importantly, you now have immediate quests as soon as you arrive at the endgame.
That's
and
so
goals
good.
with obvious progressions that you can see how to finish. Each in-game quest line has a progress bar that you can pop out from the side of the Atlas screen
Oh,
at
that's
any
what
time.
that is.
That shows you how far through you
I was
are.
wondering what all those
and buttons that
fucking
will take you
icons
to
on the
hubs
side
for you.
were.
Overall, it's just a way better in-game experience with a significant number of fun objectives to
It
complete.
looks way better.
But just in case you didn't have enough goals, we did have one other thing that you might want to complete this league. These are called challenge leagues after all. Where are all the challenges?
Wait!
Well, players of Path of Exile 1 will be used to the fact that each league comes with a series of challenges that you can complete in order to prove that you are indeed the best. We haven't done these yet in Path of Exile 2, but it's
I
time
am
to change
indeed
that.
the best.
If you're able to complete them, you'll
Also, I
earn pieces
love
of the
that
Knight
armor
of
set.
Alder
What the
armor
fuck?
set. Opening the challenge screen will show you a series of
Well,
8
fuck,
challenges.
now I have to play
After
it.
completing each one, anyone in
They
chat
gave me
or
a
in the
fucking
forums will be able to
challenge
see your prowess.
league.
In addition, you'll get a statue to put in your hideout showing
Fuck.
anyone you trade with how many challenges you've completed. You'll earn the first piece of the armor set after doing 2 challenges, and the full armor set after completing all 8. So that covers all the content you'll encounter in Return
It's
of
a
the
real
Ancients.
league now,
But what
'cause
about
it's
some
got
new tools to fight against these
challenges.
new pinnacles with? Well, we also have some new Ascendancy classes as well, but to introduce them, I'll hand you guys back to Mark.
Okay,
As Jonathan
nuisance.
said,
Okay.
we have 2 new classes to show you today.
No,
The Spirit
Ascendancy.
Walker and the Martial
classes.
Artist. Let's start with the Huntress's new class, the Spirit Walker.
Huntress's
The
butts,
Spirit
though.
Walker has developed an affinity with the Asmerian animal spirits. She is able to infuse the power of multiple spirits at her choosing. On the bottom part of the
Huntress's
class, you will find paths
butts.
for each wisp you would like to commune with, be they primal, vivid, or wild. Each one can give you different abilities that align with the stag, owl, or bear. Each ability gives you a method to become possessed by wisps of that type, and a new ability when you spend them. The stag allows you to summon stampedes when you attack. The owl grants boons in the form of their feathers, which adds extra projectiles and enhances the projectile speed of your next skill. And the bear simply summons a giant bear companion to your side. The bear
Bear?
will maul, slam, leap, and do intimidating roars to debuff your enemies. Now you can specialize more into each of these wisps, but if you want to combine all 3 of them, then a new hidden power will be unlocked. The power of the Sacred Wisps.
Oh.
This node is free and enhances the quality of all 3 of your spirit animals. Your bear will take some of the damage you take and grant you life regeneration.
Ooh.
Your stags will become more aggressive, leaping towards enemies. And your owl-empowered skills will leave a trail of soaring ground behind them.
So
But
why
that's
wouldn't
not
you
all.
do this?
The Spirit Walker has other powers beyond wisps, such as Idolatry, which can give you large bonuses for using idol socketables in your
Oh,
equipment.
I don't.
And this one, which is my absolute favorite. The Spirit Walker, having attuned herself with nature, can gain the ability to tame beast bosses,
What?
opening up a whole suite of very cool options for your build. Maybe you tame the mighty Silverfist in the jungle depths.
What?
Or maybe a 3-headed chimeral beast in the chimeral wetlands.
What?
Or then there's a giant frozen owl beast, Rakar, the
Not yet,
frozen
Job.
talon. There's so many choices. You're going to have to experiment a bunch with this one, and I'm very excited to see what bosses you all choose to have as your trusted boss companion.
That's. I don't even
Next
understand
up, we have the
what he
monk's
just
new
explained because
ascendancy
that's
class,
crazy.
The martial artist. After decades of training, he has mastered 3 of the
this will
7
be
hollow
0.5,
techniques.
I think.
Channeling hollow form technique allows the martial artist to create illusions of himself, which then use a skill of your choosing. Perfect for turning skills with less area of effect into ones that can obliterate packs with ease.
But honestly, it feels like this might be
Should
our
you find
last
yourself
one before
overly vulnerable while
1.0.
channeling, you might want to take Way of the Mountain, which causes you
It
to be
feels
covered
like
in
that's what
stone
they're-
when you immobilize enemies, mitigating
they're
large
doing.
amounts of damage. This can even enhance your attacks too. By hardening your weapon in stone, you can deal even more damage. After taking Hollow Focus technique, you can manifest your spiritual energy into objects. In this case, bells, which will appear around the martial artist and can be
Bells.
shattered by any of his attacks, even ones from the Hollow Form technique earlier. Hollow Resonance technique furthers that by adding a manifested bell to your back, which rings each time you deal a critical strike, damaging all enemies around you. Through all the martial artist's thorough training, he has mastered the flow of internal spiritual energy too, and has engraved runic tattoos around his meridians. By doing this, he can gain the benefit of extra runes. Just open your inventory and add the runes. There is one that counts as a helmet, 2 as a body armor, 1 as gloves, and 1 as boots.
Okay.
Finally, your hands, the ultimate expression of a master of the martial arts. Taking Way of the Stone Fist will cause your gloves to become a new base type when equipped. Each modifier on the original pair of gloves has an equivalent, more powerful, and more impactful modifier. For example, these gloves add some physical damage, cold damage, lightning damage, some resistances, and life gain on hit. Now, when I equip these, they become literal fists of stone, and not only grant me a bunch more evasion and energy shield, they now also grant a lot more damage, some maximum resistances, and a significantly higher amount of life gained on hitting enemies. With all the different rune combinations you could do, and the different modifiers on gloves, there's a ton of different build options, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can come up with. Now, with so many new bosses in Return of the Ancients, of course we want to have a huge number of unique rewards. There are some pretty cool things in here, so we wanted to show you a few of them. Twisted Empyrean is a two-handed mace made from the purest of Verisium, combined with the beast's corruption. It converts all of your mace's skills fire damage to cold, and visually does so too, turning your volcanic fissures into glacial ones.
Ice.
This mace also comes with its own built-in skill, Starborn Onslaught. Using Glory, you can leap backwards, throwing your mace at the ground, creating Verisium fissures, before calling behind it a storm of cold metallic bolts from the stratosphere.
I love ice abilities.
Next, we have Eventide Petals, an amulet that not only grants runic ward, but also comes with its own reservation skill, Midnight Zenith. This skill causes your critical hits to grant Arctic petals that hover around you.
Ice.
Once you have acquired enough of these petals, they will
I
be
love
consumed,
ice ability.
creating a floral ice crystal near an enemy. Then, destroy that crystal to do devastating cold damage to everything around it. The Raven's Flock is a staff perfect for minion characters. Not only does it grant spirit reservation efficiency and minion damage, it also allows your minions to inflict grueling madness on hit, slowing enemies and making all other slows on them more powerful for maximum crowd control. That's not where this item shines though. It grants a skill called Spiraling Conspiracy. This skill causes a flock of ravens to circle you, dealing damage over time to anything near them. Killing enemies, or just by standing near unique enemies, causes the flock to grow, getting larger and larger. For your
kind
PoE
of
1 players, you can
Righteous
think of this just
Fire?
like a Raven Righteous Fire.
Yeah.
That's not all, however. These ravens are also minions, so they fully scale with minion damage
Oh,
and come with their
no.
own command skill, Mad Flight. This command skill causes your flock to create a tunnel of deathly damage between a set of illusory mirrors, obliterating
Well-
anything in between.
That looks amazing.
Horror's Flight is a pair of gloves instilled with the purest of fear. Equipping these causes your enemies to become terrified of you. These gloves cause you to gain stacks of fear incarnate when you cull enemies. To aid in your culling, these gloves also come with the skill Crushing Fear. This is similar to the monk skill Killing Palm, except it deals chaos damage, and the amount of damage and area of effect scales drastically based on the power of the enemy. As you use this, gain your stacks of Fear Incarnate, which increases your culling threshold, meaning enemies become easier and easier to cull, even to the point of being able to instantly kill some monsters from full life.
Jesus.
Sylvan's Effigy is a scepter for those wanting to run companions. It allows you to have any number of companions of different types, instead of the normal restriction of just one per type. But what makes this cool is the Asmerian wolf companion it comes with. This is a persistent minion that bites foes to maim them, leaps to cause bleeding, and even howls to buff nearby allies.
Cool.
Additionally, it comes with the command skill Eternal Hunt, which when used it will howl, calling on the spirits to manifest spectral wolves to ambush all foes around you.
Neat.
Liminal Coil is a crazy wand. It allows you to apply as many curses as you please, but those curses will have no effect. What's the point then? 2 reasons. Firstly, your spells gain a bunch of extra physical and chaos damage for each curse on enemies. Secondly, is the skill it grants called Coiling Bolts. This skill is a projectile spell that fires coiling physical and chaos projectiles with every cast. What makes this skill truly special though, is that it will split and chain through every cursed enemy, causing an absolute ruckus. See for yourself.
Ruckus.
Periphery
He
is a
said the
unique bow,
word.
which utilizes all the powers of the Asmerian spirits by dealing damage of all
Cross
elements.
ruckus off your
And
bingo.
all elements can cause all ailments. The coolest thing about this bow, however, is the Asmerian Swarm skill. These are minions that are summoned when you kill enemies. They will pursue all nearby enemies, damaging them and inflicting a debuff on them that boosts your elemental damage even further. Watch as you mow enemies down, and the swarms of Asmerian wisps aid you, melting enemies one screen at a time. The Ordained is a new spear, mastering in physical and lightning damage, with high critical strike chance too. This spear allows you to leech life not only from physical damage, but lightning too. It also creates a fragment of divinity nearby periodically. What are those? Well, this spear has the skill Righteous Descent,
Oh, of
which is
course.
an epic, divine leap, aided by angelic wings. If you use the skill when a fragment of divinity is nearby, it will become empowered, dealing significantly more damage, gaining massive area of effect, and bypassing its cooldown. When fighting a boss, let a bunch of the fragments spawn, and then just unleash your divine havoc,
Am I-
obliterating them.
Gonna be a hunter enjoyer?
Last, but not least, we have a new unique jewel, Voices. Voices is simple. It consumes 1 jewel slot to add more. There are versions that add 2 jewel slots, 3 jewel slots, and for those who are absurdly lucky or rich, one with 4 jewel slots. Equip it and notice the slots appear next to your character's portrait in the center. One of the things we are concerned about is how long it takes for experienced players to replay through the game in each new league.
Okay.
As we learned from Path of Exile 1, one of the things that can really help is having elements in the campaign that tell you where to go, if you know what to look for. We'll cover just one example per act for Acts 1 to 3, but there are many more than just these. For example, Hunting Grounds in Act 1 is a large, sparse area, containing multiple entrances and landmark encounters. Here's an example of some of the changes we've made here. Finding the ritual encounter in this area isn't too difficult. Now after completing it, a trail of locusts will lead to the entrance to Freythorn. Just follow it and find the source of the evil.
Okay.
You may also find corpses of dead animals, killed and pecked at by the crowbell. You'll notice a trail of blood leading away from them. Follow the trail and it will lead directly to the boss.
Interesting.
We even put a signpost on the road to tell you which way to go to find Ogham Village.
Okay.
In Act 2, in the Mastodon Badlands, you need to find the Lightless Caverns and track down the Abyssal. Now to make this quicker, in the level you'll find these cracks. Just follow them, and it will take you right to their lair, allowing you to find and unlock the Well of Souls.
Okay.
In Act 3, the jungle areas have camps of explorers to sell you items. However, they are now even more useful. By talking to the explorers, they will point towards the next area. Not only that, but it will also reveal it on the minimap,
They literally
so you can know
pointed.
exactly where to go. These are just some examples. We plan to do more
Interesting.
and more of these over time in order to streamline the experience. Now, as this is an in-game expansion, it makes sense that we would work on Atlas QOL. We've added a search box that updates live as you type.
Oh.
Have a specific map you want to run? Now they will be much easier to find.
Oh.
If there are multiple maps, hitting enter will move you from map to map.
Okay.
Now, making a character build in Path of Exile 2 can be pretty complex.
Okay.
And instead of designing a build yourself, many players enjoy following online build
Oh
guides.
shit.
We have a pretty awesome community that has built many tools over the years for designing builds. But we wanted to improve
Where
the
are you going with
experience of
this?
following them. So, we are introducing a new build guide system directly into the game
Oh
client.
shit.
Here's how it works. Community creators who write build guides can now create a new file format,
What the
a
fuck?
build file. Once downloaded, the builds appear in the in-game client, and selecting one will show you everything you need to know to make that
Bruh.
build.
Oh.
So you can see all the passives you need to allocate,
That's so cool.
ascendancy points you need to take, skill gems you need to equip, and recommendations for all the support
Even
gems you need
skill
to use as well.
gems?
For items, the build designer can specify which uniques to use in each slot, or if needed, just add some notes to the
Wait,
item slot
what?
to say what kind of item you need. In fact, build creators can add notes to just about any of these areas, allowing them to explain different trade-offs in context, or just give more info
That's
about
so
how
much
these things should be
nicer than
used.
anybody was asking for. That's
They can
fucking
also give level
crazy.
ranges to each element, allowing recommendations to change over time. Great for builds that need to respec after they reach a certain level. Now, all of this is written in a standardized build format that creators can
Wow.
use. And we imagine that a lot of community build tools will be updated to add support for this format.
That's chill as fuck.
Now that we have trade market
that
searching
makes me
built
want
into
to
the
follow
in-game
a build
client,
guide for
we
this
have added the
league.
ability to price check items you can find more easily. Control-Alt-clicking an item will now search for it on the trade market, showing you the current prices.
Oh wow.
For rare items, it's handy to exclude some mods.
Oh,
So we added the
wow.
ability to enable and disable each mod so you can see what effect each one has on the price.
Oh my god, price checking in the game?
Next up, we're going to be talking about the
Easy
new
price
supporter
check?
packs for Return of the Ancients. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Blood Reaver and Divinity packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several
Okay,
exclusive
it's over.
microtransactions.
We went from like
As always,
Bam, bam,
the
bam, to, like,
microtransactions in these
it's over.
packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power.
I'm sure
or
that the
progression
last couple
in any
things they
way.
were talking about, they already
The Blood Reaver series
revealed
of supporter
in
packs
teasers.
contains
This is one of the
6
few times
exclusive
I hadn't looked at the
microtransactions.
teasers prior to the live
Let
event.
blood fuel your bloodshed. The
Holy
Exsanguinator weapon
shit,
effect
the
draws the
builder
blood of enemies you've slain and funnels it into your weapons.
Is fucking crazy.
Turn the appearance of your endurance, frenzy, and power charges into orbiting globules of blood with the Blood Reaver charges.
And the in-game
While your
price
charges
check,
are
oh my
active,
god.
These blood orbs will grow in size when you absorb more blood
They
from
have,
nearby
they have
enemies.
officially with
There are
those
options
two
to
things,
have
like
pure
that's
blood
the last
charges
couple things.
or
You do
charges
not
that still
need to
display
alt
which
tab
kind
out of this
charge
game.
They are at their core.
I mean,
A
I
taste
guess
for
maybe you
blood
do to
doesn't
get
negate a
get
taste
the
for
original
style.
build, but then after
The
that, you
elite
just
Blood
play
Reaver
the fucking
armor
game.
features crimson leathers and golden accents to set yourself apart from
So even if you're
uncivilized
someone who doesn't want to
leeches.
make your own build,
It also features a back attachment
Just play the game.
fashioned out of the wing of a colossal bat. Alongside every Blood Reaver is their trusted gargoyle pet. In true gargoyle fashion, they take the form of a stone
I'm
statue
a little
when
sad
you
we
are
didn't
idle.
get one of the
Leaping
three
into
classes
action
because,
when you're
as
on the
I
move
said,
again.
they are my most played classes in PoE1, and they're
What
just
good
like
is immortality if you don't
specifically
have
the
a
ones
vast
we
mansion
haven't
to
gotten
come
in
home to at the end of
PoE2,
the
but
day?
whatever.
The Eternal
GGG
Blood
hates
Reaver
me,
supporter
it's
pack
fine.
contains the Blood Reaver Manor hideout. This exquisite two-story estate
But like they
features
added
an
so
organ,
much shit in
a
this.
grand dining table,
I can't believe how big this
and
update is.
cages for your visitors. You can alter the walls to create as
And
many or few
the
rooms
in-game
as you
stuff
like.
looks so good. It's like, what the fuck?
Last
literally
but not least,
manor
the servants
editing.
of the manor, eternally bound to the order of the Blood Reavers.
Yeah,
This
the in
henchman
game looks
will
like it
manage
went
your
from like
store,
an in game
so you
I
can
just had
spend more
no
time
interest in
spilling blood.
participating in. It was so aimless. It was so just like busy work feeling, and you had like no real choices.
The
You just
Divinity Pack series
had
also
to do
contains
maps,
6 exclusive microtransactions.
and it would just
Call
it's
on
like they
Divinity to
completely
aid you in
forgot
eluding enemy hits
what made
with the
PoE 1
Divinity
in
dodge
game
roll
good
effect.
when it came
As
to
you
PoE
sprint,
2.
actual divine lightning wings will form out of your back,
But what they've shown
leaving a
looks
trail of radiance as you
distinctly PoE
engage
2
or
while
escape
still
from combat.
great
For
choice
situations that are
and
too dicey, call on
like
the gods
player
above to send
choice
down the storm
in
of
what you're
Divinity
doing.
portal to create a
plenty
safe
of goals
passage
to
for you to retreat
chase.
through.
Like it looks amazing. I
Adorn
can't believe they
yourself with the
touched
Knight
up
of
every
Divinity armor
league
set,
so much too.
a highly revered attire only bestowed to those deemed worthy for the divine
Don't
cause.
show me knight armor.
Equipping the Divine Surge character effect empowers you with a storm of divine energy. Using skills causes the storm to burst from your character, spilling raw divinity into the area around you.
I kind of want to play fucking
The
Huntress.
Arbiter
which
of Divinity Wings are the final piece remaining to emphasize the
I don't
force
know how I
Divinity has
feel
over
about
this
that.
realm. This ancient precursor machine was found locked away in a highly guarded vault. Its original purpose is unclear, but it has been
Also,
altered to
I hate
fuel
that
your
I
maps
love
using the
everything they're
pure,
showing me right
everlasting
now.
divinity within the statue. The pillars surrounding represent how many portals you have left for your map.
Stop
This map
taking
device
my
also tracks your
money.
progress as you complete the new Origins of Divinity storyline, added this expansion.
Oh my god.
Additionally, all microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. On release weekend, we will also be releasing the Return of the Ancients mystery box, which will contain 2 armor sets, a set of map devices for your in-game adventures, a new tracking scroll that records the amount of currency you've gained from the currency exchange or your
Nice.
shop, and much more, like a set of finisher effects and affinity stashes. That's not all, however. The Fragment Stash tab is finally coming to Path of Exile 2, and with it comes some tabception. Inside this one
Tabception.
tab, there's a tab for your various boss key fragments. There's
Nice.
also a tab for all your precursor tablets,
Yay.
with each type of tablet getting 6 tabs of storage. Finally,
Nice.
there's a tab for your Djinn barriers and inscribed ultimatums,
Oh yes.
both of which get their own 6 tabs. That's a lot of tabs.
That's a lot of
So
tabs.
that's everything in 050. This is by far the biggest update we've ever made to PoE 1 or 2. New in-game storylines, pinnacle bosses, crafting systems, items, ascendancy classes, and so much more. Now, because this update contains
I
so
think
much
I want to
in-game
play
content,
Huntress,
we're doing
man.
significantly more testing than usual.
And
For that
after
to
I
happen,
pooped
we're
on
taking
it.
a little longer than usual between the announcement and the release. 050 will be released in 3 weeks.
I still
on May
don't
the 29th,
know.
with the patch
My-
notes being released on the Friday
My
before
problem
that,
with Huntress
on May
is that
21st.
I don't like the defense
But there's
options.
just one more thing to talk about. Now that the endgame is up to scratch, we have to start talking about our plan for 1.0 release.
Oh, here we go.
The feedback we've had during early access has been critical for making all the improvements that we'll be making to the game.
They're
At
gonna
the same
announce
time,
it.
we had to create enough in-game content to make an ARPG that can call itself a successor to Path of Exile 1. Well, with 050, we now believe we have reached that point. And so this is going to be the last full-size league during early
fucking
access.
knew it.
That's right.
1.0
The next
is
big
coming,
update is going to be
baby.
1.0. Now, normally we would do our next big content release in August, but in the run-up to full release, our plans take a little longer on this one. As big as 050 is, 1.0 is even bigger. So we'll be launching 1.0 this year sometime after ExileCon. But that doesn't mean we won't be doing updates in the meantime. In this final phase, we have a lot of things to polish throughout the game and balance to improve. I'm sure there'll also be feedback about the new endgame that we need to incorporate too. The difference is that the focus is not going to be on adding more content like the previous updates, it's going to be on improving what we already have. But we still want to encourage people to try out all the balance changes and improvements that we're making. So we're going to be running a few event leagues during this phase alongside each update. Think remixes of existing mechanics or features. And speaking
Okay.
of ExileCon, don't forget to pencil it in on the weekend of November the 7th in New Zealand. ExileCon is a gathering of our players, and a chance for us to showcase everything we'll be working on for both Path of Exile 1 and 2. And this one will be particularly important for us, since we finally get to unveil some of the coolest content that we've been working on for a while now with Act 5 and 6. Tickets for the
Okay, so we
in-person
are
event
getting
are
the rest
currently
of the
sold out.
campaign
But
for
don't worry,
1.0.
all the
Even though
announcements
he
and talks are
literally
going
just
to be
said
streamed online for all
the
of you to
focus
watch.
was not on adding new
Now, I'm
content. But
personally
okay.
so excited for this. This is the year that PoE 2 comes out. The campaign is finally finished. It's been 8 years to get here, but we're finally near the finish line. And with that, it's time to move on to our live Q&A.
I'm still sad that they did not decide that it was a priority to finish adding the classes before 1.0, but it is what it is. Everything else looks great. And we're muted. Ziggy, I can't hear you. Ziggy.
Good to
There we go.
sit down for a nice long Q&A once again today. We just had a teaser for Return of the Ancients expansion and its complete overhaul to just every single thing in the end game, complete
Yeah,
end game overhaul.
crazy.
The Ruins of Aldor League with a frankly somewhat confusing amount of crafting and systems and things in it. It kind of keeps going. And then we've got like the Kalguran skills that work across weapons, the extra looking ascendancies and some insane uniques and all that sort of stuff. But honestly, it's kind of easy to talk about what's not part of 0.5. So with that very elegant segue, let's do that first. So I think some people definitely had an expectation or a hope that there was going to be a new class or a new weapon type here, swords perhaps.
Unfortunately, it's just the case that making a class is something that takes longer than a single cycle. So it was never going to be on the cards for 050, unfortunately. But
So
you know,
it wasn't even that it was moved in this case.
no,
was never
it just
really
wasn't.
planned.
It just isn't something that we can do in that short amount of time. So it's going to have to be the next one before we're able to get.
Well, last time you guys teased like the druid and the huntress
Wait,
beforehand.
when you say the next
so
one,
it's kind of funny seeing everyone like this. Like probably the mistake we made was having a sword in the teaser for the breach stuff.
I thought it was a fishing rod.
So no one thought about that, but it's just kind of funny.
It is a shame, but it seems like you guys have kind of, well, you keep raising the bar on yourself as far as class design is concerned. Like,
And it's not like we're not working on it in the background, right? Like that is definitely happening.
I've been seeing a little bit of work going on there.
We're simple people from New Zealand. Like swords, they're advanced technology that we haven't
Right,
quite
okay,
gotten
yeah.
yet.
So we just don't understand.
We're
Yeah.
trying
Oh
to
my
learn how
God.
they work.
Just about to get on the map, aren't you?
There's like a straight line. There's like some metal. These are complex
A
things.
lot to figure out there. But do you care to speak at all, like kind of what your plans are in that regard as far as like classes and?
I really shouldn't,
that.
just because it'll spoil the reveal for that will come
Not
some
exactly,
other time.
but like, what are you kind of hoping towards getting, like, from 0.5 onwards, in the lead up to ExileCon in terms of that? Are you hoping to get like all of the classes in the game, just one or two more or something like that?
Yes,
so
please
I think
answer
that's
this.
What the main focus is going between 050 and 1.0 is going to be more about like improving what we have, like polishing everything. And 1.0 is where you're going to get the like the big new content update. Like that's going to include the Acts 5 and 6. It's going to include like class stuff. It's going to include like all that sort of thing.
Wait.
Because really, ultimately, the main goal of of early access is like make sure that all the systems that we have in the game
I
are
need
good.
to hear
So
him
we need to
say
make
that
sure the
again.
end game is good. We need to make sure that all of the like the skills, just the way that combat is good, and like all the various things like like even stuff
He
that
is
isn't good yet,
panicking,
like
and so
ascendancy
I
trials, right? Like there's going to
don't-
be stuff that we need to do
Yeah.
before 1.0 to get good.
Okay.
And so like that's kind of so long as we can get that stuff, then I think people trust that we know how to create like an act at this point, right? Like so that isn't
Yeah.
exactly something we need to test per se. So really what we need to do now is like assuming that people are happy with the end game that we've released in 050. That will mean that we've kind of checked all the boxes of stuff that we need to know, and there's still stuff that we need to improve, and like that'll happen between 050 and 1.0. But
Okay.
that's the main thing we need to be sure of. And then once we've got that, it's like now we can get the big update, the ridiculous update that is 1.0 ready.
And I
Oh,
heard you
is the-
mentioning that
is the
recently as well,
plan-
that you don't feel like you really need to get the last acts in for testing. Because
No, I mean
You know
like
how to do that.
Okay,
we know
so
how to do
definitely
that.
the
It's
last
one of
acts
those
are
things
just
that,
gonna show
like,
up with
look, people saw
1.0.
them for like we know what we're doing when it comes to that
Yeah.
stuff. It's just
But what about the classes? Are
So
those
this
the
is
just
plan's obviously to get like those last acts in, finish the story, and have
Yeah.
all that come out at launch.
in
to be
1.0
that
exactly, and look,
exciting
that'll be the launch. Yeah.
conclusion to the story then. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you have done, though, one extremely gigantic update here for Endgame. And it seems like you've done a lot all in
I
one
feel like we did
expansion.
not get a
Yeah.
very clear
And,
answer
you've
about
got this
when we're
plan to, like,
getting the
kind of
rest
do
of
a
the
little bit of, like,
classes, and it's very
some other stuff
frustrating.
in
But
the interim.
okay.
So why did you go for this route of trying to do so much all in one instead of spreading it out over, say, a couple of expansions?
So in retrospect, maybe we should have spread it out, but honestly, the reason is because we wanted to actually make it so that like we wanted to deliver a patch where like this is what we expect the end game to be. Like this is the template for what leagues look like
Yeah.
when they're in endgame, and that kind of thing. And I feel like if we'd just done a couple of them, it wouldn't have really got that across.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be like, once again, this is what endgame is, you know, and it really is fulfilling a lot more of what we had hoped for in terms of feeling like a world that you can explore. You know, that there's things everywhere and that kind of stuff that we had wanted
looks
for.
great, dude.
The other thing as
It
well is there were
looks
just
so
like a
good.
few things about the current endgame, right? It just didn't really give you goals in the right way. Like you get to endgame, you don't know what the hell to do, and a lot of players just leave right there. You know, there needs to be the case that when you get there, like there's objectives, there's things, you know, that feels like there's actually a storyline there, this kind of stuff, in order to entice players to actually go further than the campaign and actually get into endgame. So yeah, I think that if we hadn't have done all of the leagues at the same time, it just wouldn't really have kind of gotten across what we're really going for there.
And it sounds like the plan now is to be able to focus on a little bit more polish in the lead up to
absolutely.
ExileCon as well.
So yeah, I mean, we plan to have some more leagues, but they won't be like content, like mega expansion type leagues. Like it's more like kind of like the 1 month event type things that we've done, and that's really just because we want to be able to. We still don't want to do mid-league nerfs, and so to be able to do all the balance changes we want to do, because there's a huge amount of balance still to do. You know, in order to do all that stuff, you still need to have.
And they want to
like
get
an
people
economy
playing
reset.
so that
And
people
so
are
what we'll probably
testing.
do is like more event type stuff, like remixes of existing content, but also adding stuff where stuff's missing. So for example, like we still have a lot more uniques we need to make, especially that mid-game uniques, so that kind of stuff. Like we now believe we've got the standard of where a unique needs to be in PoE 2 in terms of like, you know, and it's like way more than what you need in PoE 1 in terms of being like to reach the standard. And so now that we've got that, we can expand on that, get more uniques, sort of, you know, mid-game ones, that kind of stuff. You know, so yeah, there's stuff like that that'll be coming in the sort of the updates between now and 1.0. But yeah, like it isn't going to be the kind of like, you know, mega content craziness that we've got for OFOTO here.
We have a lot to dive into as far as endgame things. While people watching live get your questions in the chat for all of that. In the meantime, I want to ask you folks about the new league, the Runes of Aldur, which this is like an expedition rework, but it's also its own separate league. This encountering.
All right, I'll be
runes,
right back. Tell
uncovering
me if I
these
missed
runes
anything
throughout
good.
this storyline in the campaign, and then into endgame. And I was like, really, like it's a lot. There's a lot of like crafting and items and reward types and systems and stuff going on here. In fact, Jonathan, you showed me this rather unhinged looking spreadsheet. Like I was like, oh, so these are just like random rewards or something. But then you showed me this spreadsheet, like that's like the recipes of all how different runes combine together to make different things.
Yeah. We probably put too much thought into it that honestly needed. But like, like we have to make sure that like if it's an iron rune, like what kind of stuff would be, you know, creating that. Like, you know, that's just something that like the recipes have a lot more structure to them, and I suspect a lot of that players won't even think about. Like they'll just see list pick for item, you know, like that's something they don't really think about. But there is some thought put into that of like what things go to what recipes.
One way to look at this league has the most spreadsheets we've ever made. Like
That's a title line right there.
The other day I was looking through we have this gig, it's called like Verisium crafting or something.
Yeah.
I was looking through all the tabs, and I was like, I was on like the 60th tab, and I was like, the heck is this? I was reading all this stuff, and it said like Mark's ideas, and I was like, I don't remember coming up with any of this. I did. There's just like pages and pages and pages of crafts and stats, and just like honestly, I've lost the plot a little bit with respect to how many just like different things we've made, and like it's honestly just been crazy.
Idea writing.
Some of the rune stuff is like also super bizarre. Like, okay, what's like? I don't even really understand that rune that's got to do with uniques. Like, what's going on with that?
It's called Olroth's Legacy. And it's a rune that you can place in Ezomite and Kalgurin uniques to destroy the unique, and it takes one of the mods off of it and creates a unique rune.
What?
With a slightly modified value sometimes, because obviously, and then you can put that in the same item class of a.
I don't even know about this system. What systems just keep coming out of the
There's just so many crazy crafting things going on. But it was kind of like, well, when we were designing the league, we're like, okay, we've got Kalgurans. Like, what kind of crazy crafting and magic systems would Kalgurans have, like that would be different than the stuff that's going on in Rayclast? And so, you know, their whole magic system is based around like this star metal that they have Verisium, and then they like, you know, like the you know, words give it power and so on. So we're just kind of thinking, we're using that as inspiration for all the different crafting things you have.
Blue shapes.
Yeah, all the blue runic shapes and everything. So it was just a lot of
little nuts on this.
Yeah, we went definitely. So there's so many crafting things. Like, in fact, there's even more crafting stuff we had. Like, there were entire crafting benches that we have designed and practically like 80% implemented and then discarded. Like, there's just like a huge amount of that stuff.
We can do this or some other way,
Yeah,
some
exactly.
cool way. Yeah, so like because I saw that there's like, oh, you can benchcraft a thing and then it changes the unique and it has a new modifier, but now you've also got a rune that steals modifiers off uniques as well. I had no idea.
Why
about.
not?
Why not? You like making more work for yourselves these days. That seems to be a running theme. I keep saying this to you. Like, why do you do this? Like, why do you do
Okay,
this?
I'm back.
Why do you make it so you have to, like,
By the
from
way-
now on, you always have to look at all the modifiers on gloves.
100%. So yeah, because of that monk ascendancy, now every unique we ever make that's a glove unique, we have to design extra mods that it changes to.
One other axis on that. All these new runes we've added, all of them. Remember that shaman that has that whole bonded modifier on every rune that we need to
Oh,
also
man.
add?
Yeah.
Wow.
Does that apply to the ones that come from uniques like that?
TBD.
TBD.
We're gonna try. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are going to try to do it. Yes, but the idea is all of them will work. Yes.
So that's like, there's some really unusual ones too, because there's runes that are designed to just be put into an item to metacraft and then be replaced, right? So
I'm really proud of that one actually because I really like the way that it's like doing metacrafting in a more understandable way, I reckon, than
Yeah,
what
it's-
PoE 1 had.
it's much
So
more physical.
you put the item in, you can start rolling different mods, but then you can take it out again by putting another rune on top.
I would
so-
disagree.
I guess there's
Well,
gonna be maybe some
metacrafting is
processes
more
where you
simple,
put
yeah,
one of those
yeah.
in, do a craft, and then put another
But
one
also,
in, do
I'm
another
still
craft.
a little
Almost
salty we
certainly.
don't have
Yeah,
something
yeah.
as
Yeah,
simple
but
as the
we've
crafting
got,
bench,
like,
bro.
Chronomancy mods on boots. You got like a berserking themed one for helmet. There's like a kind of decay damage over time one for gloves, and there's a few others there. So we've kind of tried to theme them
Genesis
as
tree is
well.
pretty
That's like
straightforward,
even
though.
a different thing to what we've had in the past with meta mods. Like that's not just shaping how we access the current modifiers, but rather new modifier pools
yeah.
entirely getting added to items.
I mean, we also have that new modifier pool thing going on with Breach as well, where with the new minion set of mods and the new caster set of mods on rings and stuff like that. Like,
Crazy.
yeah. But the thing is, part of the reason for this is because we really wanted to make sure. So, one of the things we're in the sort of early design phase of this is we're kind of like every league needs to have something that. You're going to keep, like, if you want to grind Justice League, that there's a thing that, like, a reward that, like, you can keep on, that keeps on giving, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That there's, like, a reason to keep on doing this, like, economically. So, therefore, every league has to have some kind of crafting system that you can engage with for a very long period of time. Like, we didn't quite have that. For, like, some of the leagues sort of had that a bit before, but now we want
I
to make
feel
sure
like
that
that's a
every league
really
definitely has something along
dangerous
those lines.
philosophy, but
So that, just a reason
we'll
to keep
see
going.
how that
People can
goes.
absolutely find like a niche, a thing, a service they provide the
For sure, for
community
sure.
or whatnot, which I quite like to see, especially the Breach Tree getting real deep cuts on some of those things that you can do there, and now with the runes and everything as well. So for the back to the runes of Baldur, you're not actually needing to like find those runes that you're inscribing on those encounters, right? Because I wasn't quite
So
clear on how that works.
thematically, that's how it works. But in reality, the way that you'll engage with it is when you find a rune that's sort of inscribed on a thing. Then, like all the recipes that relate to that rune will be displayed, except for that there's a few hidden ones that you have to do some quests to get. So there's some more quests throughout the campaign, and also some stuff in endgame that you can do to unlock a few more recipes.
Yeah, but you're not having to like physically like cart these sorts of things around.
No. There's nothing like that. So effectively, like you're just picking from the book every time. So like if you want to just look at this as like walk up to the object, there's some recipes, just pick which item you want. That's effectively how you can engage with it. But thematically, there's kind of more stuff going on with the way that the recipes form and what we decide to put and stuff.
The Righteous
So you showed
Fire
that these remnants
Crow
then, this
thing
new
was
remnants
a
system, obviously it
unique,
shows the name of
right?
remnants from expeditions themselves, and in Endgame it actually
I think it
replaces those
was.
remnants. So you
I feel
are
like I
still
need to
finding
rewatch
these
the whole
standalone
thing
remnants
and,
from
like,
League mechanic, like in maps as well as
pause
expeditions.
through
right?
it.
So yeah, every area there'll be the remnant, and you
like
do
a
the sort
lot.
of standalone remnant mechanic. But then when you do expeditions, all the what used to be called remnants there have been replaced by these remnants, which serve a similar purpose because they both give you an extra reward, but also make the monsters harder. And even just making the monsters harder in itself, by the way, does add more rarity to the monsters. So like the more runes that you are adding to the fight, the more rewards you're going to get. So it's worth doing even aside from the reward that you're picking. There's still like extra juice that you're adding to the monsters as well.
We've effectively got a more unified monster mod system now, and so anytime we're pretty much adding mods to monsters, be it now runes, and we've even updated delirium mods to apply to the same
Yeah.
system. They all go through the same. There's like a rarity, XP, life, etc. columns, and so we're just trying to make sure that there's a whereas before it's like system over here, system over here, system over here. They're different reward axes, and we're just trying to make sure it's all difficulty equals reward.
Right, and that's the key thing. Like, we always want to make sure that whatever the difficulty we're adding, we're always adding rewards in kind. And a lot of the stuff in PoE 2, I mean, it's been quite hard to balance it, but it's one of those things that, if you get it right, then it feels right. And if it doesn't, then you kind of don't know why things feel off and like why things like this thing's too hard and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So on that topic, actually, so each of these runes has its own different modifiers that it does to make monsters harder. Is that something you can kind of engage with? You're like choosing the recipes?
So when you're choosing the recipe, you're also choosing what mods effectively go on it, because each rune that you're inscribing effectively comes with like, you know, the thing that the monster's going to do. So there are definitely situations where you might want to decide to like pick something easier because you don't particularly like this mechanic.
Did the UI actually tell you what the
like the goal
modifier
there is
was?
that the harder, like the rarer the item, the harder the runes are that will be, you know, the
feel
rune
like I didn't
modifiers that
see
will be
it.
added to the monsters.
Makes sense.
There's some pretty, like in expeditions and what we're now calling grand expeditions, because as what people knew as logbooks
The
before.
logbook is the
logbook is now is exploring the ocean. So,
yeah, it's actually this thing, yeah.
You get the cool things where, okay, let's say there's like 12 remnants and you want to get them all in the detonation chain. Each remnant you do the fight, and then one of those runes is passed on to be additive with the next. So it doesn't manipulate. So effectively, the monsters have the mods of the remnant, and then all of the next remnant's monsters have one of those runes as well as all the ones they had. So every remnant's harder than the next, getting more and more and more mods. And you can imagine if you go down 12, you can have technically up to 22 extra mods, which you'll know is the reason why we don't display a whole bunch of lines of text under it, and we instead have the bar of actual runic symbols.
So you can mouse over those or something, can you? Like to see the modifiers?
You were meant to be able to, but probably not right now.
Okay.
There's
That's good.
There's this thing that we'll do later, which is this pause rework. I'm going to just spoil it now because it's like one of those things that we're going to. But effectively, the intention for frickin' ages has been, we just haven't had time to do it yet, that when you pause the game, you can mouse over all of the different things and like find out information about them.
He said this forever ago, and I was like, thinking I was dumb that I couldn't do it.
Buffs and explore like what exact stats they give and that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, we've just been planning on doing it for ages, but we didn't get around to it. But
I've been really keen on that.
Do note when you are, the runes do say what they do on the remnant, and when the one that moves on to the next remnant has an extra icon above
so
it.
it's not actually moving on all of them, because I was going to say, because it's kind of like each remnant has a lot of modifiers. So it's not. Is it?
So let's say you have a remnant with 5 runes.
Yeah.
One of them will have a symbol above it, and that one forwards onto the next remnant. And so you can do a little bit of.
You can have a crazy encounter, but the next one is maybe not as bad. You're like, oh, maybe if I just make it through that, it'll be okay in the next part of the expedition.
Yeah, but then so the order of them kind of matters as well. And then, like, okay, let's say obviously each remnant gives a reward. There's a little bit of a more. If you're a juicer, so to speak, you're going to want to do a thing where you're like, okay, I want to get as many runes as possible. And so you want to kind of do things like avoiding overlaps. You want to make sure the last remnant has the most amount of runes, probably. And there's all these like different little things you can think about to try and
expedition. Then
there is, yes, and it's the kind of thing where people are like, I'm going to try and squeeze the most amount of rewards out of these out. Or if you just want to just go blow up a bunch of stuff, also that's completely fine.
On that note, extreme archaeology is still a thing with this new system, then. The giant explosion?
Not in the direct sense.
How do you mean?
Well, not with grand logbooks.
Right. Well, with the regular encounters and maps. That was always
I believe it's on one of the master nodes.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I need to double check that because I can't be sure, but I believe it is. Yes, we are.
Yeah, that was always the thing for regular expedition encounters anyway, right?
But like, obviously, you don't want that in a grand expedition because you're just like, well, okay, I'll get 1% of the island, I guess. Yeah, for the regular ones, it should be there.
Yeah, awesome.
But
cool.
If it's not,
it's funny though. Like there's also a sort of hidden amount of work that we sort of glossed over there as well in all of the like logbook islands, like what used to be called logbooks, but now the Grand Expedition Islands.
Yeah.
Like we put a lot of effort into like making a bunch of unique islands with weird shit. Like like every one of them has got like unique things to find and blow up that like are kind of weird.
So it's not just a bunch of generic maps with expeditions in it.
Yeah. They're actually got a lot of effort put into them in terms of every one of them has 2 to 3 things that only spawn there that that are interesting. So yeah, there's quite a bit there too. Like it's kind of like we didn't want to spoil too many of them because it's quite fun like finding out, oh, maybe this will explode.
Yeah, you're exploring. So
you can do, but it's quite a fun one.
There's even like there's like special logbooks you can find. Now that a logbook is just you click it to reveal a section of the ocean.
Yeah.
We have one that you can get that you can turn on, and then when you click, it's all of the islands revealed have extra modifiers on them, like expedition themed modifiers, so like more
Interesting.
explosives, more radius, and a whole bunch of stuff like that that you can get in late game.
Yeah, I guess kind of somewhat filling the role of how towers work in the rest of the Atlas as well, but for the islands. Like
But
an
then
AoE craft of maps.
Well, but then you also have ones that reveal like guarantee. Olroth will be there, for example. So it's like a little bit, which is a way to trade for like then getting Olroth kills.
Spicy.
Of course.
Nice. And
Not that you can always, of course, just trade for like the pinnacle boss keys themselves.
Anyway,
so,
yes,
yeah. But
He's not the fake pinnacle anymore.
right.
And you are actually using regular Waystone, so you can kind of juice up the expedition maps, the grand expedition
Exactly.
maps now.
Yes, you can.
Potentially quite a bit. That's pretty juicy. It seems I think you kind of mentioned, Jonathan, that it feels a little bit like Delve in some ways.
I was
it
going
is
to
a
say
little bit.
that.
So the exploring there is sort of supposed to feel that way because it's one of those like sort of infinite expanses that you can go down.
Delve
but,
the ocean.
Yeah.
Delve the sideways.
I still want to make proper Delve one day, but at least we've got this.
Delve,
You don't
please.
have to run around the islands reading all those giant blocks of text anymore, hoping
Yes.
to not get some.
Oh, you remind me actually. So with the runes, is there modifiers like immune to fire damage and can't leech from them and stuff like that? It's good. They're just gone.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
More traditional modifiers, and then there's a set at the top. Like there's one called Power Rune, which is the rarest. It takes every mod and makes it tier 2. So there's some meta-y ones, and then there's the ones some we showed, and there's one that causes all monsters spawned by the remnant to share a life pool. So. Which is actually crazy and also very satisfying.
That kind of sounds fun, yeah.
The funny thing about this is that if it had been a normal live stream where we were just doing a league, like so much more of the stuff we probably would have delved into.
Yeah,
but instead, because we had so much in-game stuff and other things as
Instead
well.
you're doing like 5 leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
So you couldn't
Like
really
there's-
show any of this stuff.
Yeah. There's tons of like hidden stuff.
It's like,
in there.
I can't believe you glazed over this thing where like a rune steals a unique modifier.
Yeah,
That would have been like a
exactly.
core system you showed off in another one.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we didn't have time. We had to cut it for time.
Well, I mean,
Like,
another one of those we cut for time was the ability to upgrade runes. There's a thing that will upgrade a rune that's already in your in your gear.
Yeah, you can get like a perfect.
So you get a
iron rune.
perfect rune of any rune can be upgraded past the normal level that it could normally go to using one of those. Like it's called the Masterwork rune.
Rub your runes
So there's something like that as well. Like, there's all sorts of
Which
stuff.
you can then do incursion, extract, and trade. By the way, just to be clear.
Yeah. Because there's the incursion rune that lets you extract stuff.
That thing.
Yeah, so you can actually trade those as the upgraded ones if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, and you've got another category of ones that absolutely can't be removed. And I assume not with that either. because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like-
So that's like the
they're
dual
like-
socket thing and
It's
stuff like
almost
that.
like vialing an item
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to get the weird economy where the upgrader item is for some reason cheaper or something than the rune that's taken out of that. There'll be some weird, someone's extracted a perfect rune because that's like a abnormal thing you got to do incursion, and the upgrader item is like for some reason going to have a weird price differential to the rune. It's always
It's gonna be a wild economy. I mean, not to mention just like 100 new runes in general. That's kind of like rather a lot, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
all the runes.
It's a few.
I think it's 160.
160 now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But it is the runes of Elder, like you know.
That's right. I
If it didn't have some runes in it, it
Gotta
would,
go with some runes in it,
yeah.
exactly.
If there aren't
It'd just be
runes in it,
Elder
yeah.
League otherwise.
And that's not even all. Like there's the alloy crafting too, which is like
Yeah.
we're gonna make a version of their essence crafting because of course you
Exactly.
do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you view this league just as like it was a crafting focused league from the outset? Like,
I mean, we knew. I mean, the Verisium stuff. Like they're known as like a whole culture of blacksmiths and
Yeah.
like doing stuff, right? So they're gonna,
sense.
yeah, they're gonna do some crafting.
Do you think there is like a too much for crafting options, or is there some way that this is like kind of segmenting out that makes it feel like it's still manageable?
Well, I'd like to think it's manageable. Honestly, I find the rune stuff. I mean, you can always add more socketable type things like this because every time you find one, it's just a thing in itself. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why we steered away from like too many crafting bench type things. We've got like mega lists.
Yeah.
It's honestly way cooler to find an item and then like, okay, now this is a physical thing that I've got. So yeah, like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you'll notice the Verisium Metallurgy one we have, the rune smithing, rune forging, whatever the names we ended up going with. It's just, here's your input, here's your output.
Exactly.
That's it.
So that one can be simple. You don't need to have the giant. I think that the giant lists are part of what scare people off from crafting as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think doing it the way we've done it here is honestly more new player friendly than the.
I don't know, man.
Than the giant list you feel like you need to understand when you see it.
People
Yeah,
don't
of
know
course, as
what's
these
out
things go
there
core,
with this method.
We'll see what works. We'll see what doesn't
Yeah.
work. We'll see what worked in endgame and didn't. Because again, once the
But
things
I
are
at least see
core,
his
how
point,
they appear in the
but-
campaign, you don't know. Maybe these things work really well in the campaign and need to be pulled into a system that's more campaign friendly without having to have remnants in every area and stuff like that. So it's always nice to keep an eye on that and see what works, what's good for onboarding, what's good for campaign progression, what's you know, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, all of this stuff, if you're using it all, you're going to be significantly more powerful in the campaign. We have a bunch of you know, those kind of purple runes, those powerful runes appearing throughout the campaign that you can get from the remnants as well, and like they do.
I don't know, was that even in the live stream? The purple.
Some of them were, I think,
Okay.
but like, you know, there's the rune for bows that gives you, you know, 50% chance for an additional arrow, and like that. It's not like that's in game. That's just at early. Now, of course, you're going to get the thing of like, do I want to use it early or do I want to save it till late? Because it depends on how many you get and all of that. But like, you know, the power is there if you need to use it and if you want to use it. So it's kind of up to you. And if they're abundant enough, go free. And if,
But to go back to your original question as well, we do sort of want to make sure that each of the crafting systems does like have specific domains most of the time.
Yeah.
So in the case of the breach one again, you know, like that's about jewelry crafting if you're into, you know, like these specific things. And in particular, you've got the caster and minion stuff as well.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking at that and you're like, okay,
Oh,
like
okay.
if I need to cast,
That makes
you know,
sense.
create some minion jewelry, then like this is the league I'm playing. But then if I'm not having to create that, then, you know, I don't have to necessarily understand that one. So we do try to like, we're trying to make sure that it's not like for every single item slot or every single use case, you have to know about every crafting system. Like there are specific ones that can help with specific areas.
Yeah, okay. And you can look into that. And that
Like
does
that.
divide it down
That's
a
a
little bit more.
philosophy.
Just make it a bit more
That's kind of the
digestible
intention.
chunks.
This was actually one of those things we discussed way back in the early days of PoE 2 about how we would differentiate crafting from PoE 1. Is like try to have a little bit more segregation of the different crafting
Yeah.
systems and different item slots.
Yeah, exactly. So you've also got this other crafting system in this because we're not finished through that list yet. But, so you can use rune forging to upgrade items, including unique items,
Correct.
to like increase their base damage,
Yeah.
or give maybe some armors new rolls with ward and things like that as well. This is like another route to modifying uniques, which you've been doing a little experimenting a bit more with over time. And this has an ability to change affixes on uniques as
Correct.
well, right?
Correct.
that's
So the changing affixes part, I believe, is mostly the Kalguran uniques where it does that. Like, is that not correct?
Can you tell what is a Kalguran unique?
we are going to add a way for you to tell what's Izamite Kalguran, because Val for the other one as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For the weapons, it's mostly about increasing the base damage to make it so that a low level unique can actually be something you can use in endgame.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously a lot of uniques there that are interesting, but not
Yeah.
viable for endgame because they just don't have the damage. So that's kind of like one of the main things we're solving.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then for the armors, it's all about like being able to make that ward versus other defense trade off as well.
For the Kalguran uniques, what we've tried to do is have that, because most of the Kalguran uniques are in game.
I wonder how wards are gonna
It's
work
just
out.
They, drops from Olroth, drops
It
from the
looks-
new Pinnacle, a few others.
Based on what they showed of
And,
how it works.
we've tried to have multiple outcomes for them, and you don't get to pick. So, for example, there's a new shield being added, and it is a strength dex shield, so armor evasion, and it comes with raised shield, and it has some mechanics around that. In the Verisium bench, you can put it in, you can craft, and it can turn into a full ES base, a full evasion base with parry, or a full strength base with raised shield. So you can, if you'd want to get away from it being hybrid, and like that's just one example. Now you might have to get a few of them to get the one you want. Deal with it. But for all of them, that's kind of the idea. Is like some are just mods, some are a bit more transformative. There's just like, okay, there's a weapon, and one of the outcomes might be that it's just higher damage, slower speed. One of it might be that converts all of its damage to lightning, like it's got a Tempest theme. One of it might be that, there's like
cool.
just a whole bunch of different stuff like that, and like some of them are a bit more niche, some of them are a bit more spike. But the idea is that there's generally we're going to try and aim for 3 different outcomes for every Kalguran unique.
But based on how they described Ward,
There are some other niche
I feel
cases.
like it's,
I don't want to like, spoil them because
I'm more interested in it than what they did with Ward and Pee-wee 1.
because they're secret.
But we'll see how it actually shakes out.
I'm getting all my secrets in. but I hope people can find them out and enjoy it. But yes, there are some other things as well that are a bit more out there. You know, one that isn't so secret, but like there's the kind of the questions of like what happens if you know, try and add Runic Ward to something that has no defenses to begin with. Tabula rasa. You know, like there's like weird things where it's like, what happens when you convert nothing into something? I don't know, you know. So,
Divide by zero.
and then there's some other weird cases as well. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, there's going to be a lot of exploration and tinkering, and it seems like a long tail of discovery for this league as well.
Yeah.
Like, months in, people might be still discovering stuff. That's it's pretty exciting to hear. With the uniques in general, like I think this crafting, the ability to modify uniques, change how they work a little bit, has been pretty popular. Do you feel like, are you worried at all about like losing the identity of uniques, or what makes them uniques, or what is the feel of a unique, or do you have kind of like an idea of how you can maintain them?
I think that it'll be possible to break that, but I don't think that we have here, because at the end of the day, the uniques are still like each serving a specific purpose, and that is different from rares and how they work. You know, like so. I think it is okay. Like what I wouldn't want to do is just be like, oh, now a bunch of rare mods can spawn on uniques. Like I'm not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, I see.
So as long as we're not doing that, I think it's okay. I mean, look, we do push the boundaries. Like, even just the fact that uniques have socketables that go in them kind of changes things a bit. But I think a lot of the time when you do that, you're not really looking at that as like the unique has got random mods. It sort of feels more like it's just an extra place for things to go in your character. So I think it still works in terms of the flavor of what a unique is supposed to be.
Yeah, it feels like a separate layer. Yeah, I guess a lot of the time you are changing one unique modifier for another unique modifier. That's like a twist on the original concept, so it still retains that identity for quite a lot there as well. So kind of like transitioning. Oh wait, first I did want to ask about the Runic Ward thing. So Runic Ward obviously has undergone a bit of a redesign, a bit of a concept change here. It's now a layer under your life. How did you arrive at this design? Kind of what's the reason for it?
Under instead of
well,
over.
once again, we were thinking, okay, we want to be able to make a magic system that feels like it's fundamentally different than what you'd have on Rayclast. We were trying to think like, okay, how do I say this? So I feel like I've lost myself here, but like I guess it is really just coming, something that feels a little bit different. And we wanted to make colorless skills, right? We wanted to make a thing where these skills can be used across classes. So all of those skills we want to be used. But we didn't really feel like we would be able to use an energy system that wasn't independent of the existing ones that we had.
Right. Yeah.
And so then we're like, okay, if we make something here where you get to be able to trade some level of defensiveness for offense because you're spending effectively part of your life pool, then we'd be able to make a system there. But we probably couldn't have used life, because if we'd done that, there's so many other things that like are going on with life that wouldn't have really been able to, that wouldn't have been able to work. So hence, Ward. I mean, it's just a completely different thing than what Ward was in PoE 1. We just sort of used the term, but it means something completely different in PoE 2.
I think it's just a significant upgrade from PoE 1's just like kind of one-shot energy shield. I mean, that was like hard carried by uniques. Whereas this is a way more, just applicable system. Like you can just have a little bit of it, and you're just happy to have a little bit of extra life. Effectively, works way better in the campaign. Works just as more of an isolated system, and doesn't need to have like, okay, here's now 4 unique mechanics, and now my ward is a build, which is fine. If it's all in-game, that's fine, but like you were talking about having something in the campaign here, a full league and a system we want to engage with and get some, borrowed power out of via these skills and whatnot, and so, it just works a lot better.
One thing I should mention with the Ward is that in the early base types, it's usually strict upgrades. Like if you're early in the campaign, you're not trading off anything, you just get extra bonuses. But as you get into the end game, that's where those bases start to be like, okay, in order to have more Ward, we're going to be trading off your other defenses. And that means that when we finally do potentially move it into core, it's going to be like, it'll be a question of like, do I want to go for it? Like, it's not going to be something mandatory, because if it had just been always additive, it would have been that every single person
is actually
every single base
my
type.
next
We don't want it to
question.
be that way in the end game. We want it to be, once it gets there, it's like a choice of like, do I want to engage with this, do I not want to? So that was kind of an important consideration there at the end.
We've actually also handcrafted every outcome. So every single, generally how you would expect this kind of thing to be done. Here's the formula. It converts. We've just gone and said, let's do it manually for everything, which means it was a metric amount of metadata to add.
Every base type we add has to have the ward, the rune-crafted, rune-forged
And
version.
at endgame, you get some cool stuff where base type A might become very, very heavy on runic ward, where base type B might have just a little bit, and some are in the middle, and some sacrifice a bit more defense where others don't, and then the same with the uniques. You're getting like crazy different outcomes where, you know, it's a similar thing where it's like, you know, what is Kelm's Heart going to do? What's
That's
Brass
cool.
Dome going to do? There's like
That's
different
really cool.
kind of things that people are going to play around with, and it's like, is it worth? And the good thing is you can of course see the outcome before you do it with,
you can?
with these non-random ones on armors.
I didn't realize that.
When you have the both the slots, if you mouse over the right one, it will show what you're going to get, except for like those Kalgurin unique outcomes, like I said.
Those
Like,
are
so
supposed to
that's
be
a
a bit of
bit more,
mystery,
bit more
transformative.
special. But most of the time, yeah, you can see what you're going to get. So if you're just like, oh no, I don't want to lose that armor, then don't lose that armor. Just you know. So but yeah,
Nice.
there's some crazy stuff.
I was wondering about that during the reveal because they didn't hover over it. They were just
stack, maybe
doing it.
just enough to use a skill or just enough to use a support, and you'll get people who are just trying to spam the skills as much as they possibly can. You have some people that have low amounts stacking higher regen of it, and like all kinds of stuff is the goal. All done via, you know, the metallurgy, the runes, you know, different skills. Like the whole suite is there, so there's just all kinds of stuff you can do.
Yeah, and on the topic of the Kalgurin skills, this is like, especially because this is like something that gets asked all the time, is like, oh, can we have more weapon agnostic skills? Things that kind of like blur those boundaries a little bit now that you've got those established. What's the design process or the goal, or how you're
So
approaching
it's a little bit
making those
tricky
skills?
because we have to make sure that these things are going to be things that can be used across classes. Like I don't want to just be like, okay, this one's only for like, you know, one particular character, and it needs to kind of span them, and that means they tend to need to work with things like existing debuffs and existing buffs. We've got one that generates they've got various things that like that just play with all of those different mechanics. So you know, like the example we gave in the presentation of like converting fire to frost fire, like that kind of thing. Like there's a lot of different builds, a lot of different character classes that be able to play with that. Ideally that means that it can just open up the different different ways to be able to synergize between different mechanics all over the place. And then because they spend ward rather than some other resource, it means that, you know, there's no issue there either.
Yeah, potentially slot into any build and don't have attribute requirements or colors.
That's the other thing, of course. They don't have strength, dex, and attribute requirements. They just have level requirements. So that way, you know,
the Kalgurins are a little bit more ahead of Rayclass times, it seems. Oh well.
There's a bit more of a technological magic, isn't it?
It's cool that it's often the case when we add these things that can feel a bit shallow. Like it can feel like here's this whole new magic system, but only there's this little amount. Whereas here, I feel like we've actually gone, here's this whole magic system, like here's a taste of it, and like in some cases, like sure, 25 skills now, we'll see what happens later, you know, and like there's things to expand on, unless they're of course terrible, in which case they never existed, you know what I mean? But I mean for the long-term health of the game. But you get this thing where it's like it really feels like, with respect to the Kalgurin magic, the Kalgurin technology, we're just like getting further and further and really learning more and more about how these people gain their power, how it's different from everything you know on Rayclass, and like it's honestly been just quite cool. And like Runic Ward, as I said, it feels way more than just like, it feels pretty core. Like it doesn't feel like this like just secondary thing. Not that you have to do it, it's not mandatory, but it feels core when you do engage with it, which is very cool. And I wouldn't say we've gone this deep into like a extra resource system and thing like in any league ever before, not in this regard. So
yeah, it's like usually just like some map thing, you collect petals or something.
Honestly, it sounds like it's gonna
Seems a bit
feel a
more
little bit
engaging
like
than that, a bit
if you
more
don't
fundamental
engage with
character
it, you
builds.
have a
Okay,
worse
well,
build. But
it seems like that's
we'll
something
see.
you would probably want to keep long term then as well. Like
because it's a separate
Yeah, I mean,
resource,
it works,
you
though.
like
yeah, if people like it ultimately. Since we're talking a lot about gear, just
Don't
kind of zooming out
sacrifice that
to
much
a
to
bit
use
broader
it.
picture, some outstanding issues from our last meeting. If I consult the minutes here, plus skills is often brought up as something that's has a very high level of impact on your gearing choices and can feel for some, I think, a bit restrictive, as just because it's so much stronger than
We
other
did have a big
options.
conversation about that. I can't remember what we finally decided on there.
yeah, it's one of those dexterity-like conversations.
Yeah. This is a
I
while
think
ago.
we are trimming a few levels off the top.
Yeah, that's right, I
And,
remember now.
or more so,
Yeah.
more so, we're trimming some off the top and moving some of it up so that there's still a high-level mod. But doing that for the weapon mods, But like, there's more to do here, for sure. I would say that given the like this league in particular, like, I remember we started it and we were like, here's all the things that we've discussed we need to fix, we need to do all this, and then it was like, oh, and here's the like 8,000 other balance runes and crafting systems and everything we want to do, and new classes, and it was like, new versus existing having a bit of a conflict, and we were, so I wouldn't say we got to do as much of the balance fix up to a lot of the stuff we've discussed previous that we wanted to do here. But as you were talking about at the start of the Q&A, like that is, and what Jonathan said is that is a lot of what we want to do, you know, while we have the team making the acts.
Yeah.
Like, that's a different kind of balance. We don't have, you know, you're not adding runes and crafting systems to the acts in the same way,
Which
right?
means that those designers
it's
are
a
freed
different
up
team. So
freed up to be able to work on all of those kinds of larger balance
You
concerns.
can pretty much do some balance leagues between
We
now
do,
and-
yeah, exactly. And we do have a big list of stuff we want to change there. Like, there's a lot.
it is a list.
Which isn't to say that we didn't do some balance for this
I
one.
expect you to do almost none on this one, given the scope.
No,
of
there's
what you
definitely
want to
some.
do.
There's
You
some,
actually have
there's some
done a few,
important ones too.
which we'll cover a few of those.
Got
yeah.
like, you know, some Chronomancer stuff. There's a whole, we're doing a bunch of stuff, but honestly, it honestly just is as much as we can, to be honest. Like, you know, we're not sitting idly not doing it, but yeah, like, I understand that there's a few things which I assume you're going to bring up a couple others that are left unresolved, and
Certainly.
hopefully maybe one of them's resolved. We'll see.
Well, the next one was Rarity, reprising our earlier discussions on Rarity from the last Q&A,
Yep.
where you were saying that you were eager to at some point remove Rarity from the game.
I am interested in doing that. It's still a question of what we can replace it with, but there is one other change to talk about around that.
they're gonna
that is a bit
remove
more subtle,
Rarity?
and I don't know whether it will matter or not. But one of the things we identified, I mean, look, the thing people often say with Rarity is they just don't want it to give currency.
Yeah.
That's like a common thing that they'll say. Like, people who say they want to keep Rarity, they'll often say, "Oh, but it should. You could just remove the currency from it, and then it'll be okay." So what we were thinking about is like, there's this sort of market dynamic that goes on in PoE 1, but hadn't been going on in PoE 2 so much, where people couldn't really respond in PoE 2 to the market by like picking the reward type that they would like to get as much.
Yeah,
So in PoE
okay.
1, it's like, if currency is becoming more valuable, you can respond to that by farming leagues that give you more currency. And if uniques are becoming like more valuable, then you can respond to that by farming more uniques and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there was like a little bit of an aim here to make it so that the leagues are a little bit more like by picking what league you're also picking more of what types of rewards you want to get a little bit better, which can mean that like if there's a gap in the market, you can fill it that way, and that should result in like more price. We're getting total economist here right now, but it'll mean that people can respond to the price signals that the market is giving them by farming the correct thing to like get the thing that like the market is valuing more right now.
So we're actually seeing that phenomenal difference between the two games on like the economic statistic level.
Well, I think it's not so much looking at the statistics, but just realizing that like without the ability for players to do that, it can mean that you can get endless inflation in one thing because people aren't able to respond to that by effectively getting more of that thing to drive the prices down again. So that kind of stuff actually can matter. And so one of the things we have been doing is making it so that here's a league you can farm more to get more of this thing. And like even with regard to something like Breach, because you can pick there's mods for picking what type of womb gift is going to drop more often. You can be like, okay, if currency is more valuable right now, I'm going to pick that one. That's I'm going to have that tree be the one that I'm getting more of, and that kind of stuff. So it's like giving a little bit more control over what the rewards are, which should actually lead to a bit more price stabilization here as well. But
Interesting.
we'll see how that works. Like, I don't know whether that's actually one of the things, but it does seem related to the fact that in PoE 2, since Rarity effectively boosts everything, it meant that that mechanic wasn't letting it be one of the levers that people could use to respond to the market that way.
Yeah, exactly. You were just going to do it because it was clear.
Sorry, guys, for turning into an economist all of a sudden, but it's like
I like it. It's
it's
good.
one of those things.
I think it's just ignoring the whole economy aspect. It just gives players agency to target what type of loot they want anyway, right?
Yeah,
How is that not just straight up just
Player
here's what I need,
agency.
here's what I want, I'm going to go get it, and here's the different levers I have to be able to achieve that, be it via choosing a different league, be it by choosing different multi-choice Atlas tree things within that league, be it by picking a certain master and taking a certain Atlas master skill that changes the rewards of one of the leagues. Like, there's many different axes here, which is very, very cool to just be like, all right, we're going to try and get the best out of the uniques today, or I'm going to try and target farm this or that. And like, it's just a win, even if you're just like, I don't care about inflation and all of the trade and all of that. Like, it's just good. So win-win on that regard, hopefully, assuming
But
the
in
economy
saying that,
adapts.
that doesn't necessarily mean that we're like happy with how item find stuff is. Like, there still might
Yeah,
be changing.
yeah,
on it.
correct.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
you're still eager to replace that.
Yeah, I am.
Given that you can find the
it's one of those things that's
modifiers.
surprisingly hard, alongside Leech, alongside Dex, and various other things
What
like
to do with Dex bonus.
the forever topics that always seem to come back and to haunt us every time.
Yes, keep you awake at night. Since we're talking economy and inflation, is that something you guys are kind of like interested in looking at in some way, like sinks for exalts or divines, or kind of managing that sort of stuff, where you just kind of like
This is a
see what happens?
This is a weird one because some of the perceptions that people have about like what each thing means can be backwards from what people expect. But I do think that that's gonna come down to that sort of ability for people to respond to the market. I think that's going to help. But as I said, we'll see. If it doesn't help with that stuff, then we'll revisit it and see what
More
happens.
sinks for exalts is an inevitability for sure. It will,
Yeah, okay,
it will
that's
occur at some. It just kind of has to. Sinks for divines. I don't know. Find Mage Blood, see what happens.
All right.
I was like, you have something in the works for that one. I know how you do.
I'm going to switch gears.
Good luck.
Yeah, wait and see with that.
This league looks great. The only thing I'm sad about is that we don't have new classes, but it's completely understandable with how big this update is. And honestly, that's more of like, I have like it's a personal problem because the 3 freaking classes that are left are literally my top 3 classes in PoE 1. So it's a little unfortunate. But I'm gonna go on BR back real quick, and I'm gonna switch back to farming because I'm feeling like I could do a few hours of farming, and we'll do that. So I'll be right back.